Hundreds of dull presentations are made every second. That's another 100. And another. Dull, dull, dull. Oh, this radio ad is becoming dull too. If only Canva did radio ads, then this ad would be designed to be engaging, exciting, and full of creativity. Just like their gorgeous presentations. Oh, so visual documents and piece of cake videos. But they don't. Canva. Design against dull.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge afternoon of Scottish football. Celtic look to return to the top of the table against Motherwell at Fir Park. Rangers host St Mirren as they continue to chase down those at the top, and it's finished all square in the Edinburgh derby. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio is Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
It is a news story if you are Mark Wilson's age or are about to turn 30 this week like Andrew Maclean. It's an old story if you're my age and Gordon Dalziel's vintage. Aberdeen have made Celtic and Rangers play catch-up in the title race, and that hasn't happened for 40 years. Jimmy Tillene's side, 3 points clear at the top of the table, 6 points ahead of Rangers, and they play each other on Wednesday night. Aberdeen, 3 points ahead of Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers is away from home at Motherwell, having made significant team changes. What an afternoon we have in prospect, and that draw in Edinburgh, incidentally, means that Hibs and Hearts are 19 points behind Aberdeen. What is going on?
Yeah, well done first and foremost to Aberdeen for last night. They sit top of the table, but it is only October, but well done to them nonetheless. 3 big games today, 1 down. Probably lacking quality, lacking drama. I just wonder if the other 2 coming up will have more quality and more drama. I'm looking forward to both of them today.
Yeah, I think there's a good card today. Aberdeen sit there proudly, but is it only for a few hours? If Celtic win at Fir Park, obviously they go top again, but you can't take anything away from the way Aberdeen's going about their business. Hibs Hearts share the points. I think we'll get plenty of goals at Ibrox and Fir Park today.
Yeah, we don't often have it, do we? Celtic and Rangers playing in different matches but at the exact same time. We're in for a good day, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the circumstances are such. Rangers cannot possibly drop any points against St Mirren. A St Mirren team, incidentally, who have lost their last 3 games on the bounce, because Clement knows that he's going to Pittodrie on Wednesday night. 20,000 people inside Pittodrie last night to see that belated win for Aberdeen, and they are making the running here, and Celtic can't afford to drop anything at Fir Park if it comes to that. So we have what used to be the case in Scottish football. We have somebody other than the old firm creating a stir, and his name is Jimmy Tillene.
Well, we will be here for you all the way through until 6 o'clock. We'll be bringing you all the action. Of course, at 5 o'clock on the Openline, we'll give you your chance to have your say. But we need to see what happens in these 3 o'clock kickoffs first. But there was a big game earlier on. Hibs won, Hearts won. Maybe you've got some thoughts on that as well. We want to hear those later on. And of course, 3 o'clock, Motherwell against Celtic, Rangers against St Mirren. We'll reflect on yesterday's action. As Hugh said, a big win for Aberdeen. 2 other Premiership games at 3 o'clock as well to look back on. But for now, the focus is on those games at 3 o'clock. Let's start going around the grounds. Let's go first of all to Fir Park. It's Motherwell against Celtic, and Gabriel is there for us.
Yes, good afternoon, Andrew, from Fir Park. The pitch looking fantastic here. A massive game ahead. As we all know, Aberdeen left it late against Dundee United yesterday, but they are not letting up at the top. They've handed the baton back over to Celtic, who need another 3 points to stay level with them. at the top of the table. The Hoops, of course, on a shorter week than most after their European exertions on Wednesday night. An impressive display in Northern Italy, but they'll hope it won't have taken its toll on them. It has been mixed for Brendan Rodgers' side recently. They struggled in the second half against Aberdeen last weekend. Only one win in their last 4 matches, and that required a late Nicholas Kuhn strike to win it in Dingwall. He'll be hoping that they can really click into gear this afternoon against a team who have been impressive so far this season. Time for team news though, Andrew, and the big breaking news coming out of the Celtic changing room. Captain Callum McGregor is one of 4 changes. McGregor not in the squad altogether. It wasn't expected. Rodgers didn't speak about it in his Friday press conference, so that's a bit of a surprise. It's the first time he's not started a game for Celtic all campaign. Kuhn, Eid and Engels all drop to the bench as well. Luke McCowan comes in place of the Celtic captain for his first start in green and white. He's in alongside Bernardo, Forrest and Kyogo. So the 11 today at Fir Park for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Defence of Alistair Johnson, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Alex Baye. Luke McCowan, Paolo Bernardo and Reo Hatate in midfield. James Forrest, Kyogo and Daisen Maida are up top. The substitutes: Sinisalo, Taylor, Palmer, Ida, Kung, Yang, Carter Vickers, Engels and Ralston. So some positives there for Celtic with Taylor and Carter Vickers, who've been injured for a while, back amongst the substitutes. What about the hosts? Stuart Kettlewell's team certainly looking to bounce back from last weekend, beaten at home by Dundee, somewhat surprisingly given the start that they've made. Kettlewell makes 2 changes himself. Casey and Robinson drop to the bench. In come Marvin Coletta and Tom Sparrow, both of them making their first start for the club. He said that they weren't good enough last week. They've won 6 or 7 before though, Andrew, so it could be a tough test for Celtic today. The run through of the 11 looks like it's going to be a 5-2-3 formation, 5-4-1. Aston Oxborough in goal. Marvin Coletta, Stephen O'Donnell, Liam Gordon, Kofi Balmer and Ewan Wilson will be the back 5, with Davor Stravkovsky and Andy Halliday, Clyde's own Andy Halliday, just in front of them. It'll be Lennon Miller and the debuting Tom Sparrow just behind Apostolos Stamatolopoulos, who leads the line. Substitutes: Heggie, Seddon, Robinson, Casey, Blaney, Kutrumbis, Moses, Watt and Maswanhi Sik.
Yeah, I think a lot of eyes on the Celtic team would have been looking at whether Cameron Carter-Vickers was going to come back in and start, with him being back in the squad. But no Callum McGregor. There wasn't really any suggestion when we spoke to Brendan Rodgers on Friday that there was an issue with Callum McGregor, but a surprise that he's dropped out.
Yeah, I think it's a surprise. I think yesterday we were chatting on the show about the midfield options Brendan Rodgers has, and we were chatting about Luke McCowan, we were chatting about Bernardo, maybe Engels taking a bit of time on the bench, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we all expected Callum McGregor to be playing. Maybe something will come out. Maybe he's picked up a little knock, or he's unwell, because he is a certain star every game. And I think in games like these you really need your captain. So even though Celtic have got quality in that area, there's no doubt they'll miss him today, and Motherwell may see that as an opportunity. But when you bring in Bernardo and McCowan, who was a standout before he came to Celtic, then you've got good replacements. Big interest for me. I said yesterday in the show I thought Ida would have played after his performance back in February, where he stole the limelight and got Celtic the 3 points. He's went for Kyogo today, and Kyogo should be rested from midweek. So a strong Celtic team, albeit weakened from the absence of Callum McGregor.
How does that midfield line up for you? Because Callum McGregor is obviously the player that always sits in that midfield. Is there an obvious option out of McCowan, Bernardo, Hatate who fills in that McGregor role?
I think maybe Bernardo, but listen, their attacking side, I think they'll just rotate. There's a freshness about that side, I've got to say. I like the look at it. I think Bernardo's a top player. McCown's been waiting for his opportunity. He's done really well since he's went to Celtic. Hatate's a very talented player. Forrest is in the wide areas. Listen, they defended brilliantly. It's the same back 5 as the other night there. I just think he's got to freshen up. McGregor is a miss because he's a captain, but they've still got enough ability in that team to go and win today.
A little surprised that Kuhn was left out. For me, his pace was troublesome for Atalanta in Bergamo during the week. However, we have praised the Celtic board for pushing the boat out and spending so much money. We have praised Brendan Rodgers for his utilisation of bench and starting 11. So there's absolutely no excuse
Are you
for
a bit
Celtic.
surprised, Hugh, that Ingles, who's come in for a little bit of criticism, now I think he's a terrific young player and he's going to have games where he goes up and down in his form. I thought maybe we'd have stayed with him today and just let him play it through, because he's got a great ability. They brought him in for 11 million, big price tag. Are you a little bit surprised he's left him out, or would you have?
I think he's taken him out the firing line, because people are looking at Arne Ingels and saying, what, £11 million, and he faded against Ross County and faded against Borussia Dortmund and faded against Atalanta. I think he's just taken him out of the firing line. And again, I go back to the point, you can't praise the club for bringing in players like Paulo Bernardo and Luke McCowan and then query why they're playing. Also, in passing, Alistair Johnson, Celtic captain today. I think that shows how quickly he has adapted to Celtic, to Scottish football, the rapport he has with the supporters. So, for me, Celtic have no excuses. You've got a Motherwell side on the rebound from a home defeat to Dundee last week, who have two players in Coletta and Sparrow who haven't started a match this season. And for me, the knock-on from Atalanta ought to guarantee that Celtic, while being aware of the fact that Aberdeen are now 3 points ahead of them, Celtic should win this game.
Celtic are always going to be favourites for this type of game, Mark, but when you look at the last four between these two sides, the games at Celtic Park, Motherwell have managed to get 2 draws against Celtic. The last 2 games at Fir Park between the sides, Celtic have had to go to injury time to get the winners. It just proves that Stuart Kettlewell was managing to make games tough for Celtic when he faces them.
Yeah, it certainly is. He plays a system that's hard to play through in those past 4 games. But he also has a goal when the time is right, promoting bodies forward, and he got his rewards in those games. And Brendan Rodgers will know what lies in front of him. They've been incredibly difficult games for Celtic to get through. Back at Fir Park last September, it was Matt O'Reilly was the saviour in the last minutes. February, again it was Ida that got Celtic back and got 3 points. So that it's going to be a tough game, and it's always a risk. Hugh is right. Celtic's got a great squad, spent plenty of money, but it's always a risk when you change a good few of your certain starters. So those who have got the shirt today have to stand up and be counted and take the game to Motherwell. They can't let the game just drift on and rely on people coming off the bench. That's the challenge that lies ahead of McCowan and Bernardo and Forrest coming back into the team this afternoon.
Well, interesting team news regarding a captain at Fir Park and at Ibrox, Roger Hanna. Very interesting team news regarding another captain as well.
Very much so. It is the day of the missing captains, Andrew. No Callum McGregor for Celtic at Motherwell, and no James Tavernier in the starting lineup for Rangers this afternoon. Top scorer Cyril Dessers and the skipper Tavernier both benched. There's 4 changes for Rangers from the side that beat Steaua Bucharest comfortably here on Thursday night. John Suter and Tom Lawrence both marked absence from Philippe Clement's squad this afternoon. Still no Matondo, Cortez, Hadji, Yilmaz or Danilo either. And as Hugh said at the top of the show, we arrive here with Rangers 9 points off the pace. A huge week. St Mirren today up at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. Motherwell in a Premier Sports Cup semi-final next Sunday. And I think this Clement team reflects that hectic schedule and also his lengthening list of absentees. The Rangers will start with Jack Butland, the captain, stand-in captain in goal. It's a back 4 of Narecio, Casemiro, Leon Balogun, Robin Proper and Jefte. Midfield, Connor Barron, Nico Raskin and Modi Omande. And up top, Václav Černý, the 2-goal hero in the Europa League on Thursday, along with Hamza Igamane, who scored his first Rangers goal against Steaua, and Nadim Bajrami. On the bench, it's Kelly, Tavernier, Dessers, Dowell, Sterling, McCausland, Fraser, McKinnon and Lovelace. Rangers, of course, back in domestic duties for the first time since that defeat at Kilmarnock, a damaging defeat at Rugby Park last Sunday. But they have won their last 6 meetings against St Mirren, and St Mirren don't arrive here in any type of form at all. Boss Stephen Robinson did get a new 3-year contract in midweek. That was reward for back-to-back top 6 finishes, of course. Best league finishes in 40 years for the Saints. But this season's not started well. 3 straight defeats. They've won just 1 in 11. They're 10th in the Premiership table, and they're probably glad of that share of the spoils in the Edinburgh Derby, keeping Hearts and Hibs 2 points behind them. Such is the congestion in that area of the table, Andrew. A win would take them into the top 6 today, but their last win over Rangers within the League Cup in Paisley 4 years ago, and the last one here in November 1991, long before you were with us, Andrew, when my old pal and neighbour Kevin McGowan scored the only goal. Robinson makes 2 changes from the side that were beaten 4-0 by Hearts at Tynecastle 8 days ago. Out go Kevin Van Veen and Oisin Smith, and in come Elvis Guamono and James Scott. So they will have Ellery Balcom in goal. To back 3, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Charles Dunn. Across the middle, Elvis Guamono, Killian Phillips, Mark O'Hara the skipper, Greg Kilty and Scott Tanzer, and up top James Scott joins Toyosi Olusanya. On the bench were Minsky, Penman and Smith, Boyd Muntz, Adeniran and a duo McMenamin, Ayunga and Mandron. Our referee is Callum Scott, and our VAR at Ibrox this afternoon is Greg Aiken.
Well, how many times have we had callers into this show, Rangers fans, who have been asking, demanding that Rangers managers over the years drop James Tavernier?
Yeah,
it's happened today.
I think you could drop anybody today and Rangers would still be okay. Roger has just detailed the facts of life. 33 years since St Mirren beat Rangers anywhere. 4 years since they beat them at their own place. They're at Ibrox, they're on the rebound, they're third bottom. They lost 4-0 to a very ordinary Hearts side last weekend. You could drop anybody. It's a foregone conclusion today.
I think there'll be quite a lot of eyes on Horatio Casemiro today in that right back role, because if he performs well, then I think a lot of Rangers fans might say that they'll feel justified in criticism of James Tavernier and that Casemiro should continue to be the right back. If he doesn't have such a good performance, then you wonder where it goes from there.
Well, it's been looking like he was going to go that way, because some of the games he's put him on at right back and moved Tavernier up one. Today he's decided to leave the Rangers captain out. I think that will please a lot of Rangers supporters going to Ibrox. I'm a Tavernier fan. I don't think he's been in great form, I've got to say, this season. I don't think his numbers are anywhere near where he should be. So he's taken him out the firing line. He's freshened it up like Celtic could do at Fir Park, and it's up to the Rangers now to kick on after a performance on Thursday night. Forget the opposition, they were excellent, they were on the front foot, they scored goals. There's a few guys in with an opportunity. I like the look of Barron and Raskin in the middle of the park. I think it gives them a bit of, just being solid in there and making sure the back four are protected. So I'm with you. I can't see St Mirren doing anything today at Ibrox.
Hamza Igamani came off the bench midweek and probably showed more in 20 odd minutes than Cyril Dessers had for the whole game. He certainly had an issue with his eye that Philippe Clement went into, and that's why he ended up getting substituted off when he did. But it's a big opportunity for Igamani, who came on, scored his first goal. But there have been a couple of times where he's started so far and maybe not shown what he has when he's come off the bench.
Yeah, but I think he deserves a crack at it, and a few goals at it. We're chatting again yesterday about it's probably unfair on players to throw them in and then take them out right away if they don't make an immediate impact. But Igamani's one who looks exciting. I think he excites the Rangers fans. He's got a trick in him. He looks direct. He looks like he can score a goal as well. And Dessers has been relied upon too much, I think, from Rangers' point of view. And you look at who's on the bench as well. You've got Danilo, who's just went missing now and turning up and playing in the B team every now and then, so he's not going to challenge Dessers. But Igamani might just be the one who sparks something. So it's a big opportunity for him today. I agree with you in respect to St Mirren, what kind of challenge you'll put up. They're not having a great season, and history certainly doesn't give you any idea that they're going to put up any sort of challenge today. So it is right to probably rotate one or two of those with an eye to Wednesday night, because that is a big challenge. I think Rangers will get across the line today, but those going in, similar to Celtic, Igamani, Casemiro, it's their opportunity to stake their place in the team, to stake a claim, should I say, for their place in the team come Wednesday.
There is just this added element for both Celtic and Rangers this season that we've not really had in previous seasons, that if they drop points, if they're not performing well, that there's a third party there that they need to be concerned about now. We've got the league table pinned up on the wall in front of us. Aberdeen 3 points clear. Yes, they've played a game more, but Aberdeen showing yesterday maybe not their best performance of the season, but they're certainly, they got the win. They're a team, Celtic and Rangers, at the moment need to be concerned with.
That's why I said at the start of the programme that it's an old story if you're Gordon Dalziel or me, because it used to be the way when Alec Ferguson was there. It hasn't been that way for 40 years. And now you look at a league table where Aberdeen are 9 points ahead of Rangers. Rangers couldn't possibly afford to drop anything today. It's just as well they're playing St Mirren and are in no danger of dropping anything. Likewise, Celtic, They are 3 points behind Aberdeen. They have recently drawn with Aberdeen. Aberdeen gave them 2 goals for a start and still caught them. So Celtic at Motherwell, minus the captain, they have to be careful. But if they don't utilise the multi-million-pound squad, then that's their own fault. They should win today. But there's a new kid in town, and we've got a revamped look to our league table.
Well, that is the team news from Fir Park. That is the team news from Ibrox as well. We'll continue the preview to those 3 o'clock kickoffs, but after the break we'll reflect on that Edinburgh derby earlier on. We'll take a look back at the main talking points from yesterday's games and of course keep you up to date ahead of those 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Hundreds of dull presentations are made every second. That's another 100. And another. Dull, dull, dull. Oh, this radio ad is becoming dull too. If only Canva did radio ads, then this ad would be designed to be engaging, exciting and full of creativity. Just like their gorgeous presentations. Oh, so visual documents and piece of cake videos. But they don't. Canva. Design against dull.
This October, stream the Sky Sports Big Weekend on Now. 2 Premier League title hopefuls clash as Liverpool travel to Arsenal. The Championship action heats up with Leeds' visit to Bristol City. We've an F1 title race on our hands as Lando looks to chase down Max in Mexico. And the 49ers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Live. The October Big Weekend. Sky Sports available with no contract on Now. 18 plus, UK only. Broadband 2.5 megabytes per second required.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Building up to 2 massive games in the Scottish Premiership today. Motherwell against Celtic at Fir Park, Rangers against St Mirren at Ibrox Stadium. Both of those 3 o'clock kickoffs. We got the big team news before the break. Both captains for Celtic and Rangers are out for this one. James Tavernier on the bench for Rangers, Callum McGregor not in the squad. It's being reported though Callum McGregor has an adductor injury, so I think we thought that it would be some sort of injury or illness that would mean he's not in the squad rather than being rested. So it makes sense, especially during this busy period, Mark, where Celtic, well, every team but Celtic have so many games and games of high quality. You know, the one midweek against Atalanta, that if you are concerned about a player, it makes sense that you maybe don't risk them.
Yeah, and you have to balance that up. I could probably be certain if this was a game against Rangers today, it would probably have been patched up and he'd take to the field. But you manage your workload. This one in Dundee midweek, you might miss out because there's bigger games round the corner. But you need to have the quality to be able to do that, and you need to have trust in the players you bring along. Brendan Rodgers always says he has great trust in his team, and today it'll be Bernardo and McCown that takes his place. I actually thought it'd be McCown that would sit a bit deeper today and allow Hatate and Bernardo just to reprise their regular roles. It'll be interesting to see how it lines up. It could take a number of forms, but again, he's going to be a miss because he is the leader and he drives standards at that club.
But how much of a miss can he be? Can he be allowed to be? I mean, after all, you know, McCowan, good player, £1 million for Celtic. Paulo Bernardo, good player, blossomed after Matt O'Reilly left for Brighton. £3-4 million. You know, that if you're a Motherwell fan, you're saying, so that's it, they bring in 2 players, value $4 million. Motherwell bring in Coletta and Sparrow, and we're Googling them to find out who they are.
I like the look of the middle of the park. I think they're good energy in there. I think Mark's talking about McCown. I think they can rotate. I think they've all got the ability just to let each, you know, take turns and go and supporting the front 3. The front 3, they're good pace there, good direction. I think Celtic look not bad with that team.
Well, we'll continue the build up to those games shortly, but let's take a look back at the Premiership action that has already happened, starting with the most recent. It was a 1-1 draw between Hibs and Hearts at Easter Road today. We mentioned it at the top of the show, maybe not a game full of quality, but it's maybe symptomatic of what we've seen from both teams so far this season, sitting in the bottom 2 places of the Premiership table. A win for either side you feel would have been massive today, but neither managed it.
I think the most damning statistic of all is that Aberdeen are 19 points clear of Hearts and Hibs, and we haven't reached games in double figures yet in the Championship. It is astonishing, and it's a sad reflection on Hibs and Hearts and the quality individually was poor, but Hibs looked as if they were going to get away with it with the goal that they scored, and then they Hibsed it again because they allow Alan Forrest to get his head on a throw-in, and he's one of the smallest players in the park, and young James Wilson nips in for the equaliser. So as you were is not good enough, because they're bottom and second bottom of the league, and for the two clubs in our capital city, it is nothing short of shocking.
We said a win would have been massive for either side. Was not losing quite vital as well for David Gray, who is in a real sticky spot with Hibs at the moment? Losing an Edinburgh derby, especially after going 1-0 up, would have been disastrous. Neil Critchley, only a week in the job really, has had two good results coming into it, so has a bit of credit in the bank for those. Coming back, getting a point from behind, I don't think you'll see as the worst result.
No, I don't think Critchley will, because it's been a good introduction for him to life at Hearts. But for David Gray, look, his team's all over the place at the minute, so he really could have been doing with a win. And where's that win going to come from? You just can't see them picking up many this season in the form they're in. Hugh's right to touch on the quality, individual quality in that Hibs side. Defensively, really, really poor. You look at the goals they concede another really poor goal, and maybe could have conceded more. But again, the game was lacking quality. These games often do for me. The Edinburgh derby, there's not much ever in them, and two scrappy goals. But certainly a worse result, I think, for David Gray. He needs to start picking up points, because we don't like to see managers get the sack, but you feel like he's maybe in borrowed time.
I think his biggest problem at Hibs is he can't keep the back door closed. Now, Hibs were 1-0 up, and it wasn't the greatest game. It wasn't like Hearts were battering their defence every couple of minutes and testing the goalkeeper. But they've got Achilles heel of losing late goals. I said in the TV when we were sitting watching it, I said, this game's not finished, Hearts will probably score, because that's where Hibs are just now. He's got to make sure that if he gets in front, it happened last week at Tannadice as well. He was in control of the game. Yes, you can argue when down to 10 men, but you still got to see it out. It's only 5-6 minutes. So he's got real problems. And as much as the Hearts manager, he got the new manager bounce, I think, away from home. The derby's quite a decent result. I think he's got a bit of work to do as well, because the two sides looked very poor today for me.
David Gray will probably be bemoaning missed chances. There was a couple of Dwight Gale headers that they probably should have done better with. They could have found themselves ahead earlier in the game.
To be perfectly honest, if he'd lost today, it would have been unlikely he would have been the Hibs manager when they go to play Ross County in midweek. But he has got the point. He's no worse off than Hearts. They are both shoddy, both underachievers, but he lives to fight another day, and that will be in Dingwall, and that will be a real hard one for him. And Hearts will go back to their place to face Kilmarnock midweek. We'll need to wait till the Kilmarnock player gets sent off to see what happens after that, but it's a tough midweek as well for Neil Critchley, because yes, he's done well, but he's beaten a poor St Mirren. He's beaten Omonia Nicosia in Europe. He's got out of jail today with a belated goal against Hibs, but the jury will still be out on him.
I think with these clubs, the size of these clubs, we always expect them just to bounce back and start a run of form that just gets them out of trouble. But the problem is when you get to near Halloween and you've now shaken off those bad results and those bad performances, and individuals are still making those same mistakes, then again it snowballs and it's incredibly difficult to get that result, and the games become tougher and tougher. And Hugh's right, Hibs going to Ross County, season's gone by in terms of budgets and the club sizes, you'd think, oh well, Hibs will win that. Now you're not so sure because of Ross County's result yesterday, and same for Hearts. You think Hearts Kilmarnock, that's a pretty simple one, but again Kilmarnock will pose a threat, and if you don't pick up maximum points in that, you're on to the next week, and again it becomes harder. But I think Neil Critchley will be fine at Hearts. I think he'll get them in the right direction. It's Hibs. If you're a Hibs fan, you must be seriously concerned at the minute.
The way the schedule's set up now in the first half of the season, having those 3 international breaks, if you're a manager in trouble, I think you'll probably always have one eye on how close they are and when they're creeping up, because those seem to be the perfect time for clubs to decide whether they want to stick or twist in their managers. David Gray might feel at the moment that he really needs to get some results in the build up to that November international break.
Oh, listen, the clock's ticking with David Gray. I don't think the Hibs fans are happy with what they're seeing. They were in control of the game today. They probably should have put the game to bed. They missed a terrific chance to make it 2-0, which would have probably got them over the line in the 3 points. But you can't have a Hibs team with the squad that they've got sitting bottom of the league with 7 points. They're lucky that Hearts are down there with. Takes a wee bit pressure off him, but he's got to start turning it around, start winning games, and he's got to get his defence sorted out when they're in control of the games, not to lose late goals.
We're old-fashioned guys, you and me. 19 points between Aberdeen and the two clubs in Edinburgh. 19, and we haven't played 10 league games yet.
I was going to say, does this make you feel even more old-fashioned that James Wilson comes off the bench for the second weekend running, born in 2007, 17 years old, and scores another goal, a huge derby goal as well? I feel, we said he didn't seem like he was allowed to enjoy it. Like, Hearts were too busy trying to get the ball and go back to the halfway line. You feel he should have been allowed to have his moment in front of the fans.
If you're a 17-year-old kid and you score the equaliser in the last few moments, surely you're up in the advertising orders, giving it the big yin.
I'd have been in beside the fans.
I don't think people would have seen you for a week if that had happened.
Well, I've scored in derbies, so I know how it feels for a young kid. I was unfortunate. I was 18. I was a bit older.
Some would say fortunate. You can probably enjoy it more if you're 18. You can go out and make the most of it.
Oh, I enjoyed it. You can ask the Celtic fans that one.
You don't say.
So yeah, it was a 1-1 draw in the Edinburgh derby earlier on. Some big matches yesterday. We'll look to that later kick-off. Aberdeen, as we mentioned, maybe not their best performance of the season, but winning another game, another 3 points, a big goal from Peter Ambrose. And looking at the league table, Aberdeen fans might be pinching themselves. 9 games played, 25 points. What an incredible start to the season.
They had ambition last night, and Dundee United lacked ambition, particularly in the second half. Aberdeen really went for it, and they had good individual performances. They had a magnificent crowd. The atmosphere when Rangers go there in midweek will be exceptional. But for the second time in recent weeks, they beat Hearts at the death to win 3-2. They beat Dundee United last night to get to the top of the league on their own. We don't need to ask questions now about Jimmy Tilleen. We know that everything he touches turns to gold. He's got the club as a whole really going in a way that they haven't done for a long, long time. But they deserved everything they got last night purely and simply because they wanted it more than the team they were playing.
Is even the goal scorer quite a good sign? Because if a team are doing well, sometimes they are maybe relying on one or two players who are in real form. But if you've got other players who maybe aren't a main part of your setup that are still contributing, still scoring goals, you're managing to spread that across the team. It doesn't mean that if one or two players drop out, the whole thing might fall apart.
He's assembled a good squad, you've got to say. He's got some real good players up there. He made the substitution last night, paid off. But Hugh's right. Aberdeen went for it because it was Devlin, the right back, that was actually in creating the chance for him to score the winner. So it wasn't the greatest game I've ever seen in my life, and Jim Goodwin would probably say feel a wee bit unfortunate not to come away with a point. But Aberdeen just kept going and kept going and kept going. They didn't have that in their locker under Barry Robson. They didn't have that. They would have probably seen that game out 0-0, or they would have lost it 1-0. It was so tight. But he's just developed a good, the team are getting together with confidence, and he's got them playing for each other and working so hard, and everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. And Hugh's right, the crowd was incredible, 20,000.
Yeah,
people are coming back.
Yeah, people speak about momentum, and when you win games, how does that look? That's what it looks like last night, because Daz is right. The longer that game's going on, you're thinking, you fancy United here just to sit in and take a point out? Would have been a great result for them. And you then start saying Aberdeen, it's a testy period. Are they coming off the rails a wee bit? But no, The momentum takes them, the belief in the squad gets them over the line to keep creating chances and eventually take one to get the 3 points.
I think a couple of weeks ago we looked at the next 4 fixtures for Aberdeen. Celtic at Celtic Park, and they come through that with flying colours, especially second half. Dundee United, who have started the season really well, they've come through that with flying colours. They've got Wednesday night, and then they've got a semi-final. So another 2 massive games coming up.
A quick whistle-stop tour of the other 2 games yesterday in the Premiership. Kilmarnock undone by poor disciplinary again, which Derek McInnes will be really disappointed with.
Well, that's his problem, and he's got to solve it. I think they'll go in a mean-spirited fashion to Tynecastle in midweek, because they are the proverbial wounded animal now. So that's for Hearts to contend with midweek, and it hasn't been a great start for Derek. And you know, he's a much praised manager. He'll need to earn his corn now to turn this around. And as for Simo Valakari at St Johnstone, I said to Mark Wilson, have a look at the crowd, the away crowd, magnificent banners, the excitement, the reaction when they scored goals. Simo Valakari, in a matter of days, has got that club going. I mean, I always thought of St Johnstone as a sleepy place. Perth, sleepy place, not really a great football hotbed, but it's absolute, to use the modern day terminology, it's absolutely buzzing.
You couldn't get someone more opposite from Craig Levine, though, could you, in Valakari? And I think St Johnstone needed that, because he was right. You look at the home crowds, the travelling support, the way they played, just the whole look of the club. Then Valakari comes in, he looks something totally different that we've not seen in Scottish football. I'm just talking about his appearance. Now that rubs off to players. I don't know what his style's like, but in the first couple of weeks they look like they're in the front foot. They look an attacking team. They look better to watch right away, and that's only in a couple of weeks. And to get the goal, and I mean, I know there was controversy about the goal, it's hard to see, but they get the 3 points, and Tony Dock is now the one with a problem after such a bright start to the season. You say complete opposite. I was going to say, could you imagine Craig Levine with the earrings, but then he had that revelation on a podcast recently. Did you see this? That he
nipple.
When he was manager of Leicester, that he had a nipple piercing.
Imagine seeing your manager with a nipple piercing.
Don't hold that against him. Listen, it was trending.
What was it you had pierced?
No,
as a manager
a long time ago. But you look at where St Johnstone are. It's incredible, this league, right? We've got 2 of the biggest clubs, Hibs and Hearts, sitting down there on 6 points after 9-10 games. And you look at St Johnstone, who we all thought, going to really struggle. They'll be down there battling away relegation. Top 6 just now. It's incredible. And Ross County sitting 7th. So there's a lot of work to be done for teams like Kilmarnock, St Mirren, Hearts and Hibs, because they're what you call big clubs. They had good seasons last year, St Mirren and Kilmarnock and Dundee. So there's a bit of work to be done, but they've got to start picking up results.
Well, that's the story of the weekend so far, but still lots of action to come. Motherwell against Celtic, Rangers against St Mirren, both 3 o'clock kickoffs. We'll go back to both grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Less than 15 minutes to go in the 2 big Scottish Premiership fixtures this afternoon. 3 o'clock kickoffs. Motherwell against Celtic, Rangers against St Mirren. We've already had one big game today. It was a 1-1 draw between Hibs and Hearts at Easter Road. Of course, Aberdeen are top of the Scottish Premiership at the moment after their 1-0 win over Dundee United. It has been a weekend full of action so far in the Scottish Premiership, but it's far from over. Let's go back around the grounds. Let's speak to Roger Hanna, who's at Ibrox. How big did that win midweek feel for Rangers, and will it give the supporters a lift, Roger, heading into this weekend?
Well, it certainly gave them a lift on Thursday night. It looked after about 2-3 minutes as if it was going to be one of those nights when Jack Butland made a mistake, the Stoy striker went round him and rolled the ball into the net. I thought it was a perfectly good goal. Rangers got a break when it was disallowed, and they took full advantage of that late off. They were excellent going forward. Václav Černy's best performance in a Rangers shirt, Hamza Igamani's first goal in a Rangers shirt, and it took a bit of the sting out of things for Philippe Clement. I thought he was under real pressure after that defeat at Kilmarnock. You know, it's off the back of a dreadful run away from home. I think they've now scored, is it 1 goal in 4 Premiership away games. They suffered a heavy home defeat to Lyon as well. People still remember that Old Firm defeat at Celtic Park. So it was a result that Philippe Clement needed. He needs one again today here against St Mirren, Andrew. And for me, I think he needs results at Pittodrie and Hampden as well to really get Rangers back to a position where he believes they should be.
Yeah, we talked about that third element there is so far at the top of the table in the Scottish Premiership. Aberdeen getting their victory. That'll give them belief heading into their game against Rangers on Wednesday. Rangers now need to do the same today again with that massive match coming up.
Yeah, and as you said earlier in the show, they cannot countenance anything other than a victory here this afternoon. They will go into a bear pit at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. It will be the kind of atmosphere Hugh Keevins used to witness 40 years ago when he'd get a train up the road to be shouted at by Alec Ferguson. The Aberdeen fans yesterday, I don't remember a racket like that for many years. They have rallied behind Jimmy Tillin. The squad has rallied behind. They're getting performances from, you know, guys who last season just looked surplus to requirements. Shaden Morris, Vicente Bejoan, Papa Guy, who I know is injured just now, Esther Sokla, guys like that. Some of the signings have been excellent. I thought Nielsen and Palaversa in the middle of the park yesterday again did well. Gavin Malloy looks a decent sign in the centre half. Everything is going well for Jimmy Tillin at the moment, and they'll be licking their lips at the thought of Rangers coming into town on Wednesday.
Roger took the train up, got shouted at, and then banned most of the time.
Quite right too.
When we look at Rangers, obviously we talk about that big game midweek, but Rangers can't be looking past today because no game is a foregone conclusion for Rangers at the moment.
No, I mean, Philippe Clement is walking a tightrope. There wasn't a great reaction to the win over Steaua Bucharest because people kept referring to the diminished nature of the Bucharest team. But personally, I thought that Rangers scored 4 high-class goals and had to be commended. However, this is a game where if they dropped any points, it would be a crisis for Philippe Clement. They're playing a team who have lost their last 3, who have started the season very poorly and ought not to have any chance whatsoever.
The next 3 are so important for them. Yeah. I agree, because we got a phone call on the Thursday night before the game, and one of the Rangers supporters says, doesn't matter if we won 7-0 tonight, he's still under pressure. Now I thought Rangers, and you quite rightly point out, opposition wasn't great, but that's nothing to do with Rangers. I thought Rangers on the night were excellent. They moved the ball quickly. 2 midfield players were brilliant for them. So it's up to them now in the next 3 games, because they're really important games. St Mirren today, I'm expecting them good performance to get a good result. Aberdeen, and then the semi-final next week against Motherwell. So it's a big week coming up for the Rangers manager.
There had been, I think, a bit of apathy creeping in from Rangers supporters just with everything that's been going on at the club. Even small things to cling on to. Will it give Rangers fans a slight bit more enthusiasm looking at that team today and maybe some of the changes that they were wanting to see? Casemiro coming in for James Tavernier, Hamza Igamani starting ahead of Dessers. It maybe just gives the game a bit more intrigue for those that were feeling a disconnect with the team.
Yeah, well, Rangers fans, like any fans, want to see a glimpse of the future and things progressing. Casemiro, 22 years old, Igamani, 21 years old, Connor Barron must be about the same, is he? Run about that. So you've got young, fresh players in there that should be able to take the club forward. Now, we hear Rangers fans, and we've stood on here as well, when Goldson was at the club, you know, too many years had passed, same mistakes, similar errors time and time again. Tavernier, as good as he has gone forward, similar mistakes time and time again. So I think the Rangers fans are no different. They want to see things freshened up. Today's an opportunity. There's 2 or 3 of them in the squad. You've got 2 wide guys who look like they're a creative force and can score goals. So it's a much more exciting look about the side. But again, they have to go out and prove that today and stake a claim for a starting place on Wednesday night.
Gabriel Antoniazzi is at Fir Park. It's a venue that Celtic have found it tough in recent times, but Motherwell have also made it tough for Celtic at Celtic Park as well.
Yeah, exactly as you say, Andrew. They've been really good against Celtic recently, the same way that Kettlewell often gets his side up for the bigger games. Okay, the last 4 meetings have not actually won any of them, but Celtic required late winners in the last 2 matches here at Fir Park, and then it's been 1-1 the 2 last times they met at Parkhead. So other than possibly Aberdeen, can any club say they've troubled Celtic more often than that in the last 12 months? And that's what Stuart Kettlewell will be going for today with his side. Can they stifle Celtic? A Celtic without captain Callum McGregor. His eyes were lit up when he saw the team sheet and saw there was no McGregor for the first time this season. Yes, they've got able replacements, multi-million-pound replacements coming into the centre of the park, but it is a huge opportunity for Motherwell to try and get at Celtic early. And we've seen the Celtic backline as well, despite a very impressive midweek against Atalanta in the Champions League. If you can get at them, they can look spooked, a bit rattled, so that'll surely be the game plan for Motherwell today.
You can spin it one of 2 ways, I think, when it comes to the last couple of games at Fir Park between these two sides. You can look at Motherwell, and they've been stubborn, they've made it really tough for Celtic to play. Could that give Motherwell belief today? But then there's the other side of it where Celtic have just been relentless in their pursuit of 3 points, and no matter what Motherwell have done to try and stop Celtic have just kept on going and managed to get the results.
When Celtic came back after the Dortmund debacle, they struggled at Ross County. They needed a Nicholas Kuhn goal very late on. They struggled against Aberdeen on a day when Brendan Rodgers said they were passive, lacked aggression, and they blew a 2-goal lead. But now they're coming back off Atalanta, where they have got a point that no one saw coming, and with a defensive display that no one could quite believe. Today they're without McGregor, but they have sufficient quality, and quality on the bench, such as £11 million Arne Engels and Nicholas Kuhn. I don't know whether it's the mood I'm in today, but how can there be any possible explanation for Celtic dropping anything against a Motherwell team containing 2 players who've never played for them before, and who have in Lennon Miller the outstanding young talent in the country, but the rest of the squad doesn't come anywhere near him?
An interesting game, I think, for Austin Trusty, because I think there was quite a few question marks over him in the lead up to the Atalanta game. He was Celtic's best player, I think many people would say, against Atalanta, in what is a very different game from what today is going to be. So it's about him showing a different skill set today and showing that he can perform on the bread and butter of the Scottish Premiership.
It will be, I think, domestically. Of course, if you're a centre back at Celtic, you get a lot more time in the ball, a lot more time to think about passes, and sometimes you can overthink things in possession, that is. Now he's playing on the opposite side from where he's used to, because Carter Vickers is out, no doubt about it. Yeah, Wednesday night was his best game, and he's got to show that form consistently. I don't think there's any question though, Carter Vickers on the bench today, when he's fully fit, he will go back into that starting lineup. But Brendan Rodgers will be pleased at what he's seen midweek, and it certainly serves him good stead for the future. Trusty,
if he has to go to the bench, look at the bench. Adam Ida, £9 million. Arne Engels, £11 million. Louis Palmer, Nicholas Kuhn, put them down for another £6 million. You're talking somewhere between 25 and 30 million pounds worth of players you can bring on. If Celtic drop anything today, bearing in mind the Aberdeen situation, it's laughable.
Well, that is the story ahead of the games at Fir Park and Ibrox. We'll see how it all unfolds next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just about to get underway in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. One at Fir Park, Motherwell against Celtic. The other at Ibrox, Rangers against St Mirren. Let's get some predictions from you three first, starting with Hugh Keevins.
Rangers 4, St Mirren 0. Motherwell 1, Celtic 3.
Okay, I'll go Motherwell 1, Celtic 2, and Rangers 3-0 winners against St Mirren.
I'll go 2-0, 2-0.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Underway in the games, one in Motherwell, one in Glasgow. Looking forward to this. We don't often have Celtic and Rangers both playing at the same time, so it should be interesting to see what happens.
I was going to specify 2-0 to who? You just said 2-0 and 2-0.
Yeah,
what we think
you know who to.
Well,
Let's
I'm
just
surprised that you've not got your Motherwell strip on at the club.
I was going to wear it today, actually. If I was going to the game, I'm wearing it next week because I'm going to Hampden to support Claret and Amber. So I'll be there in full voice.
Are you going to be allowed in, do you think?
Why?
Just with that kit on?
With a number on the back.
Yeah.
The relevance.
If people didn't see this during the week, I think the video's up on social media as well. You got a gift from, was it Andy Halliday that sorted it out?
Yeah.
It was a kit man that looked after us, Aldo. Lovely guy, sent me it through and put a special number on the back.
It's always been special to you, that number.
I did receive a message on Instagram. Someone asked me, was that your number when you played?
On a Saturday night. Good start from Celtic there. Worked a nice little exchange in the corner, get in behind, ball flashed across the front. So lively start already, 2 minutes in.
Yeah, corner to be taken by Paulo Bernardo, who is on duty certainly from that side anyway. It's headed up and out. Will be another corner for Celtic underway at Ibrox between Rangers and St Mirren as well. I think the crowd as well, there was maybe question marks about what the crowd would be like midweek against, but I think people had sort of prepaid for their Europa League packages and season tickets going into this weekend. Maybe a bit of positivity from that game as well. I don't think that'll be too much of a worry today.
But they're not having football matches at Ibrox at the moment so much as public inquiries. The crowd are going in a judgmental frame of mind. They're not yet convinced by anything about the club, on or off the park. So every game is a trial, and I just think they're fortunate today in that they have a side who are unable to help themselves at the moment, and that's why I think Rangers will win convincingly. Yeah, from your predictions, you don't think there's going to be any issues for
Rangers?
either of the two sides today?
Well, for Rangers, I have to look at St Mirren's form as well, because you have to take that into consideration. They've been poor this season. Stephen Robinson will know that, and you look at the history as well. A long time since they've beaten Rangers. I think injecting Igamani and Casemiro and Barron playing very well, I think if you get those three playing at the top of their game, they'll have too much. And for Celtic, like the guy said, look at the quality in the squad, look at how they've been playing this season. Be hard pushed to see Motherwell getting anything. I think both teams, Motherwell and St Mirren, will make it difficult. I really do. I look at this Motherwell setup. They're playing 5 at the back, three centre backs and 2 wing backs. They're playing a diamond in the middle of the park to try and stop the inverted full backs that Celtic use. So they're looking very, very tight indeed. They're going to try and keep it as tight as possible, and that's what you've got to do. And when you go forward, you've got to offer a threat.
Well, it's not what you would have wanted starting the game. Hamza Igamani, just 2 minutes into the match, has picked up the first booking of the game. Collision in the middle of the pitch, so we'll be walking a tight. That's a very early yellow card, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially, he's got a big chance today. Desser's benched. Igamani off the back of his first goal for Rangers against Steaua Bucharest. So long afternoon for him.
Tell you what, Fir Park though, Caleta looks quick playing in that right hand side. Just broke past Maeda. He played a nice little 1-2 and he was right in the Celtic backline. Now Motherwell have a corner. He looks a threat in that right hand side.
Yeah, Stuart Kettlewell had mentioned that when he's looking for players to bring them in on loan, he looks for maybe one specialist thing that they're good at, and he said earlier on this season that Marvin Caleta, it's his pace and his power when running with the ball is the thing that he's good at, and he's shown that already.
Yeah, great run. We noticed that, Mark. It was brilliant down the right hand side. Motherwell will be looking to be a threat at set plays. Andy Halliday putting that in with his left foot there. Obviously one that was working the training ground, someone peeled off at the back, tried to get a free header, but it came to nothing. But I've got to say, we're seeing these pictures coming in, and we're not at the game, but how good is Motherwell's Park just now? It's absolutely sensational.
Always is. Used to be one of the worst as well.
Yeah,
a good few years ago, and now
used to be horrendous. I remember they painted it in one game that I was playing. They painted the grass green just at this dugout section, and we walked on and we looked and we went, that's not real grass, mate, and we rubbed it with our feet. That's how bad it was, and patchy and sandy. It looks terrific now.
Yeah, always a good surface. Celtic will enjoy that as they try to pass the ball around and create an opportunity it was quite an exhausting game they had during the week. They had to do a lot of running. I remember at one point during the game that collectively, I think it was pretty early on in the game, collectively Celtic had done 4 kilometres more running than Atalanta had. It'll have just further increased in the game, chasing the ball. But Celtic have a big squad. They've made changes. They're used to playing, whether it's Wednesday, Saturday or Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday in there as well. So it can't really be used as an excuse, can it?
No, not at all. I'm very much afraid that, you know, if you aspire to be in the Champions League, as Celtic do, then you just have to put up with the scheduling. And you've got a squad, a multi-million-pound squad, that you can utilise. And as I say, on the bench, you've got Kuhn, Engels, Palmer, Ida, Greg Taylor, Carter Vickers. I mean, what more do you want? So that has to be of secondary importance. You have to get on with the fact that you're required to play Wednesday and then Saturday or Sunday.
Have we taken a closer look at that Celtic midfield setup? Looks like Paulo Bernardo
is the spot on, yeah.
The deepest of the three.
Yeah, I know my game. I know my football. I think like Brendan. Bernardo's such a talented player. He can sit there. I think they can retake. I think every one of them can take a shot there. But it looks early on that Bernardo's just sitting in front, playing the McGregor role, and he's well capable of that, let's be honest about it.
Sometimes isn't always the player you think, is it? Because remember, was it under Ange Postecoglou, Celtic had that period where Callum McGregor was out injured and it was Matt O'Reilly that sat back there and people didn't expect it to be him.
I suppose with Matt O'Reilly and Bernardo, you get that level of composure on the ball, you know, no rush at all. You know, being Benfica, by the way, right, midweek, and see what their youth teams, you can see.
You've not told us that.
You can see Bernardo all through the academy. Just the way they create players, it's amazing. And he's a finished article, obviously, that moves on for whatever it was, €5 million or 6 million, whatever it was. But he's a top player and brings composure to any team.
Did you know he was at Benfica, Andrew?
You want me to give you a rundown there? Andrew?
It's alright, I'm alright. Maybe if we're running out of chat later on, it's fine.
Half time though.
Talking about producing your own talent, Barcelona 4, Real Madrid 0 last night. 6 players that started for Barcelona were from the La Masia Academy. That's like the dream, isn't it? If you're a supporter of a football team, that you've got a successful team. A big chance here for Motherwell.
Bernardo.
Maybe not in the chance here. And the strike is off the post from Lennon Miller. I think it was at the edge of the box. It fell to him. Kasper Schmeichel had come out of his goal. He was in no man's land after a back pass from Liam Scales. It was Bernardo, just didn't set his feet at all. Stamatolopoulos nicked it away. He was going a bit too wide, cut it back for Lennon Miller. A good strike, but off the post.
Well, it's funny, you defend for 90 odd minutes in Bergamo against the Europa League winners and defend it brilliantly, and 6 minutes in at Motherwell you defend like schoolboys.
Yeah, great opportunity there. I was expecting the net to bulge there, especially it fell to probably the most gifted player at Fir Park, Lennon Miller, who's been absolutely brilliant this season, and he's so unlucky not to find the target. But there's promising signs for Motherwell. They're growing confidence into this game. Celtic are struggling. I knew they'd make it difficult for them. They're very tight in the middle of the park, not giving Motherwell space, and now a free kick with a good opportunity to test the goalkeeper.
I have to see it from behind, but I don't think he's unlucky. I think he should score. I think he should score that. Now it is 20 odd yards out. Schmeichel's at his goal, he's beaten, and he's got a lot of the goal to aim at there. It's Bernardo though, just gets the ball caught under his feet, can't get it at his feet, stumbles, and the forward does well to cut that back.
I'll tell you what, big chance for Motherwell and a big chance for St Mirren as well. Tayose Olasanya, he was at an angle, he got away from the Rangers defence, sort of dragged the ball across the face of goal. You don't really know whether he was going for a shot or going for a cross, but that one just trickles wide. But St Mirren threatening in these early stages, as are Motherwell, who have this free kick, and it's going to be Lennon Miller standing over it, right footed as he does, and that one comes off the upright as well. Lennon Miller hitting the woodwork twice in the opening 10 minutes against Celtic.
There's an alarm bell ringing in North Lanarkshire, and if it doesn't waken up Celtic, pretty soon they'll go a goal down. They've had one off the post, now one off the bar.
Goalkeeper. It's a fantastic free kick, Hugh. It really is. He's betting that right. It looks like he's getting in the top corner. The goalkeeper's not getting there. Absolutely no chance. And the crossbar saves Celtic.
What a free kick.
It's incredible. Pretty much at the same time, Motherwell and St Mirren going close against Celtic and Rangers. Starting with Motherwell, Lennon Miller just once again showing that at the age of 18, unfazed by whoever the opposition are, stepping up, taking free kicks, taking responsibility.
Well, as I said earlier on, he's the best player, young player in the country, bar none. And Celtic are the only club in the country that could afford to buy him if they do want him, but I suspect he'll see his life either in England's Premier League or, well, we're big in Italy at the moment, somewhere like that. But Celtic are all over the place here.
Yeah, what's good for him, Hugh, is this season he's getting a run of games, and it's good for Motherwell to have him there. Look, he's going to go into bigger and better things, there's no doubt, because he's such a talented lad, and he's been unlucky. He'll feel a bit unlucky he's not scored the opening goal of this game.
Yeah, St Mirren will get a bit of belief from their opening 10 minutes at Ibrox. Rangers haven't really managed to get into the St Mirren box at all. St Mirren have got forward a couple of times. I think Leon Balogun had to head one out at the back post, and then there was that big chance with Toyosi Olasanya. Would have been a tough one to score. It came from a slip from Robin Proper. St Mirren almost making the most of it, but unable to. But certainly Celtic and Rangers been given a good challenge so far in both games.
I mean, that's what we want to see. As I said at the start of the programme, we've got an unusual season going for us. We've got Aberdeen making Celtic and Rangers play catch up. We've got the two Edinburgh clubs 19 points behind Aberdeen. The league has taken a funny turn. Celtic, Dingwall a couple of weeks ago, struggle. Aberdeen, struggle. Motherwell, struggle so far.
Corner to Celtic at Fir Park. It will be taken, I think, again Bernardo. By Paulo Bernardo. This one was into a better area towards Austin Trusty, but headed away by the Motherwell defence.
Yeah, it's good defending. It's a good ball in, but Motherwell defenders are sharp. They're on their toes and they get it off to safety, but it's a throw in the far side. And if you're watching on telly, it's right to left.
Well, we've got one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 1, St Mirren 0. Mohamed Diamandi has put the Ibrox side ahead, and after a bit of pressure that they had to sustain at the other end, it's Rangers who have the lead.
Well, as I said to you, that's the first of 4, so you can forget about that game now, and just concentrate on
Fir Park.
Yeah, just concentrate on Fir Park, because Ibrox is finished now.
Yeah, the ball was laid back to Nikola Raskin, who was about 25 yards out, had a shot. It was saved by Ellery Balcom in the St Mirren goal, but it deflected back out and into the path of Mohamed Diamandi, who was on hand, I think he's maybe playing in that number 10 role today, in the sort of Tom Lawrence role with him missing. So found himself in a good position in the box, was wide open, had the space and the time after that save by Balcom to put Rangers ahead. He
needs a big display today, Diamandi. I like to look at him in pre-season. I liked him that much, I put him down as my player of the year, so he's needing a big season. But in domestic games he's been very poor, I've got to say, and only for the fact that Tom Lawrence is injured. He's got an opportunity in that number 10 role, as you quite rightly said there, Andrew, so he's off to a good start. Gets the first goal for Rangers, and I think it could be a long afternoon for St Mirren.
Yeah, especially after the pressure they had to sustain, then that will come as a big relief, I think, for Philippe Clement, that they managed to get that goal now.
Celtic have a chance here, but it's out for
Donna. Mrs. Motherwell captain, leading by example, Hugh.
Yeah.
Good defending, good play with Celtic down the right hand side again.
As ever, the Celtic supporters will know that Rangers are a goal up, and that they're watching their team having an erratic start to the game as Luke McCowan puts one past the post. So we've got a bit of intrigue on our hands, but it's in North Lanarkshire. There's no intrigue left in Govan.
We've seen that free kick again. It's absolutely brilliant.
Great technique,
and it was terrific. His goalkeeper, it's the right distance for him. The wall jumps, he's still got it over, and it comes down, and it's just so unlucky it hits the crossbar.
I think he's away celebrating as well. He thinks he's jogging away. A great technique from the young lad. But Celtic lifted it a bit in terms of tempo, pinning Motherwell in a wee bit in the last couple of minutes. Couple of corner kicks there, so slowly building their way back into the game.
How long before someone says they're missing McGregor?
I don't think you can use that as an excuse, Hugh. They've got so many talented players that should be able to get in there and play, the football that Brendan Rodgers was looking for. I think you've got to give credit to Motherwell. They're set up very well. I spoke about that diamond in the middle of the park. They're working as a unit. They've got 5 at the back, making it very difficult for the wide players as well. So I think just now some credit must go to the Steelmen.
Yeah, well, Celtic trying to get into the Motherwell box again. Alistair Johnson's pass cut out, of course, wearing the captain's armband today. I think there probably would have been with Callum McGregor and Cameron Carter-Vickers both out. I'm not sure who you would have guessed would have been wearing the armband today.
I think it's a tribute to Johnson for the start he's made to his Celtic career. Popular with the fans, they like his enthusiasm, and clearly Brendan Rodgers agrees with the fans.
Jack Butland with the armband today for Rangers. I think I saw an interview they put out on their own social media channel today, and it was actually about Jack Butland talking about being the new vice captain this season, of course taking over from Connor Goldson, saying that he doesn't feel his role has really changed all that much because he was quite a vocal presence in the changing room anyway.
When the critical callers come on to complain about Tavernier, and there are plenty of them, they always say Butland should be the captain. So they've got their way, and they've also got a lead.
I don't like goalie captains here.
No, neither do I.
I don't think it's
too far away from everyone.
I think so, yeah. I think commanding your back four and organising your defence, I think a goalkeeper will do that anyway. I like someone in maybe the middle of the park, or when I played in my case, a centre forward too. It was terrific.
Centre forward as captain, no chance. They're too selfish. They're too selfish.
You've got to pick. In our day, you pick the best player. So, i.e., why I had the band.
If you're just joining us, 2 games ongoing at the moment. Motherwell Celtic at Fir Park, Rangers St Mirren at Ibrox. Around 18 minutes gone in both those matches. Goalless between Motherwell and Celtic. Rangers 1, St Mirren 0. The goal from Mohamed Diamandi for Rangers at Ibrox.
Yes, it's a perfect start for Rangers, but at Fir Park it's still a tight game. Celtic just try to find a rhythm. I don't think they've found it yet, and I think that's down to Motherwell's pressing organisation. Stuart Kettlewell goes into a lot of detail setting up his teams against the opposition. He's looked at Celtic today. He knows that the fullbacks come in. He knows that the strengths of the wide players. He knows that the midfield have got quality. So he's done his homework, and so far it's working for him.
A banner from the Rangers supporters once again towards the club. We've seen that in previous games. At Kilmarnock, wasn't there? There was a couple of banners that went up just after half time. Another one today: your ineptitude is destroying our club. Time for fans to force change.
Well, that's a powerful statement from supporters. You can't ignore that kind of thing, because there are too many supporters, and they mean too much to the club in terms of what they provide. Season tickets, replica kits, all of that stuff, and it shows that the result against Steaua Bucharest had absolutely no effect on the supporters. It's domestic football that they're concerned about. I just wonder, and it's something I wrote about this morning, where's Dave King? Dave King slaughtered the Ibrox board. He said they would go down in infamy, and he said they were sleepwalking. And arguably, well, certainly statistically, things have got worse since he made that statement. So the ineptitude must stop. Well, are they looking towards Dave King to stop it?
And banners like that, I always wonder, who is that aimed at? Who are they aiming at? What? Because but I always think that's the easy way for the fans. Now, the board could argue that they have spent money. They've gave a manager time, and they've gave him opportunity to go out and build his squad, and he's under delivering.
But so a lot of it has also been about the fact that there just aren't the people in the right positions of power. Maybe they're looking for those roles to be filled and to be filled quickly to try and give the club a bit more direction.
Do you not always think, and I'm talking about fans in general, always point to the board rather than what's going on in the pitch and probably more pressing matters?
I think you're right what you're saying about the players, and Clement's been backed, plus the fact he was given a new contract as well. So there's certainly the people in charge just now, certainly. But you're right, Andrew, they need some stability in the club from top to bottom, and they've not got that, and I think that's where the problem is.
Motherwell a chance here from a corner. It's bouncing about that Celtic box. Eventually one of the defenders gets their boot on it and clears it away, but danger again, and
it's
Lennon Miller at the centre of it again.
Second time. It's worked
Around
on. Dad said Andy Halliday, delivery right on the button at the back of the 6-yard line. Lennon Miller just peeling off. He gets Valley to come and mark him, knowing he's got to beat him in the air, and he tries to direct this one back across the 6-yard box. Celtic scramble it away, but certainly something Motherwell have worked on.
I have to repeat,
look at that for a throw.
Or here's another chance.
Yeah, punched away by Kasper Schmeichel. In the other game at Ibrox, Rangers managed to get forward down the right. Horatio Casemiro with a ball into the box. Igamani was waiting, but Alex Gogic put that one out for a corner. Don't think the corner came to anything. Rangers certainly look as if they're picking up a bit and trying to add to that goal that they've got so far. Motherwell threatening against Celtic. Celtic trying to get forward when they can.
I have to say again, in Italy they defended heroically, and for over 90 minutes against the Europa League winners. They are all over the shop.
It's a different Kelly section, Fir Park.
It's a real difference in setup though, isn't it? Because when Celtic were quite happy to absorb a bit of pressure against Atalanta, but I think the way that Atalanta play forced Celtic back and forced them into sitting in their own half, whereas they will be more open, they'll be more expansive today, they'll leave more gaps today, and Motherwell so far have managed to exploit that.
Motherwell know that. They'll know the opportunities to get bodies forward and down the sides like we're seeing just now.
I think this is too easy.
Yeah, another chance for Motherwell here. It came from a back heel into the path of Sparrow, and his right-footed shot had a bit of power behind it, but it was too close to Kasper Schmeichel, who held it.
All the chances going one way at the minute. Lennon Miller hitting the post, hitting the bar, few headers at the back post. Sparrow with a half volley there from 18 yards, all going towards Schmeichel's goal. Celtic had plenty of territory round about the Motherwell goal, few corners, but have we seen Oxborough do anything? Maybe a wee save from Maeda that was maybe going wide anyway.
Motherwell are a far bit the better team, and it's not like they're playing silky football. It's just they're playing balls in behind scales, and they're getting so much joy from it. And that was another good chance there for Sparrow. I think Stuart Kettlewell will be delighted with the first 23 minutes.
There may well be a bit of frustration as well, because he'll know as well as anyone that if you do get chances against Celtic, you have to take them, and you're only going to get so many across the 90 minutes.
Although it does look to me like one of those Sundays for Celtic. I think back to Falkirk in the Premier Sports Cup, I think to Dingwall, where the manager is going to have to look at that bench, because the side, I'm struggling to find the proper word to describe them. It's erratic all over the park. The passing is poor. Defensively, they look, to use one of Brendan Rodgers' words, they look spooked, and it's just not what you would have thought would have followed on from Atalanta in midweek.
People talk about how different Celtic's defence can look when Cameron Carter-Vickers isn't there, and obviously speaking about that this week isn't overly topical because Liam Scales and Austin Trusty had a fantastic game midweek against Atalanta, but we have seen it a lot of the time when Cameron Carter-Vickers goes out, the back line doesn't look the same. Is the midfield look as if they're missing Callum McGregor so far? It's not quite as fluid as it normally is and as structured as it normally is when Callum McGregor's in there.
I think they just miss his general leadership quality. They are at the moment individually and collectively not hitting the mark at all. And the Motherwell goalkeeper has yet to be tested, and more than a quarter of the game is gone.
To be fair to the Celtic players that are in there just now and not performing great just now, Callum McGregor I think was part of those squads that struggled there in the first 45 last season as well. You even look at guys like Matt O'Reilly, part of that as well. So sometimes you've got to give credit to the opposition. That's spot on with the Motherwell shape in that midfield. 5 at the back, and their wing backs are taking care of the wingers, so they've always got an extra man in defence or 2 in defence. But that diamond 4 is really taking care of the midfield at the minute, in possession, not giving them any time, blocking the passing. So it's all set up nicely for Stuart Kettlewell at the moment.
It's already looking.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 1, St Mirren 1. There's an equaliser at Ibrox, and it's Alex Gogic. The ball went out for a corner, and it was Alex Gogic who was free in the middle of the box to get that goal and get St Mirren back on level terms.
That's incredible. I met Alex on Friday.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and I says to him, "Are you looking forward to your trip to Ibrox?" And he said, "I think I will score, Daz."
You say this every week. This is one of your manufactured lies that
the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Chuck.
I tell you what,
one day
it's
you'll be
shocking
saying that
marking.
in a court of law.
Shocking marking from Rangers at the corner. As easy as you'll get. You know, just when you see the simple movement from Gogic, and Diamandi's got him and almost just leaves him. Just leaves him and tries to point to someone else to pick him up. The thing is, at set pieces, you can't just pass someone on in the 6-yard box. It's a split second, and Gogic just knocks it in. Great, good header, good bravery.
Saying that, you got to ask questions of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, for me, has got to do a little bit better. Celtic got an opportunity. Goal Celtic. Come on, Andrew.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, it's all happening, isn't it? St Mirren equalise against Rangers, and then Celtic take the lead at Fir Park, and it's Luke McCowan who grabs the goal for Celtic, signed for £1 million in the summer, and has another goal in a Celtic shirt.
The Celtic fans love his story because he is a Celtic fan who gets to wear the shirt. It is a terrific finish. It has been what Celtic have lacked all afternoon. Sense of purpose, just knowing what you're going to do, and the finish is terrific. For Luke McCowan, a big moment.
Yeah, good goal. I've got to say, the Motherwell back line just opened up like the Red Sea, and he just strolled through there on his favourite left foot, gives a goalkeeper absolutely no chance, and that was the response. That's what they can do. We're talking about, you know, how good Motherwell were. They've hit the bar, they look the better side, but when Celtic have got that much quality, it just needs that split second, and all of a sudden the game changes.
27 minutes in, and that's the first sign of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll disagree with that, Hugh, in terms of McCowan, though. McCowan's had 4 efforts from outside the box in the first 27 minutes. You saw James Forrest having a go at him because he shot for 20 odd yards. You saw one he dragged and it deflected. I think another one deflected as well. It's something in his game. And you see he gets a break of the ball there, it comes to him, it falls to him about 20 odd yards out. That's right, Motherwell defends back off. You can't back off someone like McCowan at the edge of the box. It's a good finish. In terms of clear cut chances, Hugh, I would agree with you, but with him you could see why he's in that side today. He can do something like that.
I think while that goal was going in, there was a VAR check going on at Ibrox just to see whether that Alex Gogic goal would be given or not. It did stand, of course, or else we would have told you a bit quicker than this. But all happening. Shows you just how the points swing as well. It can happen on a day like this when Celtic and Rangers are both playing at the exact same time. That at one moment Rangers have 3 points from today's work, Celtic have 1 point, and then in the space of a few moments, Rangers 1 point, Celtic 3 points.
In my head I can hear the crowd at both grounds. At Ibrox, utter dismay, and given the banners that you've been describing to us, Andrew, there will be anger and hostility in the air. And at Motherwell, the Celtic supporters, having cheered when Rangers lost an equaliser, then find themselves one to the good through Luke McCowan, who is the representative of the Celtic support on the park, because that is why his story is so appealing to the Celtic fans. So an astonishing sequence of events.
It's a good response for St Mirren, because I think we were all sitting in here thinking, right, it'll be an easy day for Rangers, it'll be a case of how many this afternoon and everything will be fine in Govan. But as I said, I spoke to Gogic and he said that they were working on set plays. This is true, Hugh. I wouldn't make things up. And he told me that they'd been really working in set plays all week, so it's obviously paid off. Well done to them.
How can this man have the effrontery to say to us, I wouldn't make things up?
I know I do sometimes, but today I'm not. It's a Sunday. I never do it on a Sunday.
Yeah, a chance for Rangers there, if you can call it one. It was Naratio Casemiro with a cross into the box. Didn't quite catch it correctly, but it meant it hit off the St Mirren bar and goes out for a goal kick. Nearly caught out Ellery Balcombe, but I don't think that it was ever really going to dip underneath that bar.
No, it just slices it, doesn't it? Just tries to lace it across the front, slices it. Rangers will have to pick things up 30 minutes into the game. St Mirren holding their own in that one. You described the chance early on for St Mirren as well, so it's not as if they just had one furry up the pitch and scored from the corner. They carry a threat. I'm surprised by that because of their form. But over at Fir Park, Celtic certainly now settled, I think, after that goal. And that's quite often the case. Been there before, Daz been there before. You're the team, you're the favourites, expected to go and dominate, and things don't always go your way until you get your necks in front, and then everybody just, the shoulders relax a bit and you can start playing a wee bit more. That's the way it looks in the minutes after that Maclean opener.
Still a lot of time to play today, half an hour in at Ibrox. Rangers, if they only got a point from this game, and they may get 3, they may get none from it, but they would go into that game against Aberdeen at Pittodrie 8 points behind Aberdeen. 8 points behind Aberdeen, and it wouldn't even be November yet. Aberdeen would have the chance to go 11 points clear of Rangers.
A draw would be an absolute disaster, and Philippe Clement would be in terrible trouble. The crowd are demonstrating that 4-0 against Steaua Bucharest reserves is neither here nor there. This is all about domestic football. This is all about shifting the dial here, and it's just not happening for Rangers so far this season. So a draw would, I always say a draw is a disaster, a defeat's a catastrophe. They're somewhere between defeat and catastrophe right now.
They can't afford a draw this afternoon.
No, not at all.
I totally agree with you, especially with the game on Wednesday night coming up. Is Celtic going the front foot looking for a second goal?
Well, decent chance for Rangers there. It was a ball in from the right. Barami was at the back post at a bit of an angle, but he couldn't direct it on target. Goes into the side netting. Remains 1-1 at Ibrox. The cross took a big deflection into the path of Barami, who had Igamani in the middle for support, went for goal himself, was bouncing up, just hit the side netting.
Here's a prediction of the day, and you're going to hear it after 32 minutes. Dessers will come on and score today at Ibrox.
Yeah,
not that down, Hugh.
The Sage
he's your
has
man.
spoken.
He's your top goal scorer, isn't he, for the season?
Yeah, I need him to come on and get the magic boots.
And where is he? He must be up there, is he not? In terms of top goal scorers.
He's not scored for about six games, is he not? He's in a run not scoring goals. I think 6 games. Am I correct in saying that, Andrew? You're a stat man, you should know that. That's your job.
He doesn't look sure though, because he's on in like,
he doesn't take me up in it.
I'll take your word for it. Look, you do your homework. We hear that all the time. You're outside the school gates chatting to Alex Gogic. You know your stuff.
I'm going to take a selfie tomorrow just to show you all.
Would be good. Get a selfie, you and Gogic.
Me and Big Gog.
I wouldn't recommend hanging about outside the school gates with your camera out, but a chance here, and I think, has the flag gone up?
Well, it's either
because the ball's ended up in the back of the net for Celtic, off Dyson Maeda. And I have no idea what's actually going on here, because it doesn't look as if the goal's been given.
It's a brilliant pass through. Run about the penalty spot. Maeda comes in off the side. Is it offside? Is it a penalty? Is it a goal? I'm not quite sure.
If it's not offside, it's a goal.
It also depends on when.
It's a goal, is it not?
The whistle has gone as well. Absolutely no idea what has happened here at Celtic Park. It was a ball into the box. There was a challenge between Dyson Maeda, Stephen O'Donnell and Aston Oxborough. We're all going for it. And then we see the run from deep, and it looked as if it was maybe even put into the net by Stephen O'Donnell. Was it? It's a foul, I think, has maybe been given.
Well, it comes off Maeda's hand to go in the back of the net.
Right, okay, that can't be given.
Got to have been fouled.
Yeah,
he's got to have been fouled. It's got to be a penalty kick.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I don't think you goes in. Obviously, he uses his hand because he falls onto it because he's pushed. So I'll be surprised if this isn't given to Celtic.
Well, Gabriel says there's a VAR check for handball, which I don't think is going to last very long, because the ball quite clearly strikes the hand of Dyson Maeda and goes into the net. But it depends when the whistle went.
After he's been clearly pushed or tripped by O'Donnell. Now, it's a great run, a great pass from McCowan right into the penalty spot area, just beyond it. Maeda's getting there, it looks like.
I think what has happened, I think the referee has given the goal on the pitch.
Right.
So they're having to check to rule the goal out for handball, because this.
And can you not change that to a penalty kick?
Yeah, I think they can, because that happened before the ball came off the hand of Dyson Maeda.
That looks like a Stonewall penalty kick to me.
So that'll be the next thing they check, because the handball. The goal cannot stand, of course, because it comes off the hand of Dyson Maeda. But the next check you'd expect would be
penalty kick,
whether it's a penalty or not. Certainly Brendan Rodgers wants one. However, it's play on, no penalty to Celtic.
Well, that's bizarre. I mean, it's as blatant a penalty as you'll ever see.
I can't understand that.
VAR is having a very poor weekend.
Someone will have to explain that to us at half time. Gabes will be our man. He'll know.
Yeah.
He'll get to the bottom of it, because the guys are right. Maeda's inside O'Donnell. It looks like O'Donnell either trips him or pushes him in order for Maeda to fall onto the ball, and his hand obviously puts it across the line. So no doubt it's a handball, so the goal can't stand. But how does he get to the stage he has to handball it? He gets fouled.
I wonder about the positioning of O'Donnell, whether the referee or the VAR thinks that Dyson Maeda has run into the back of Stephen O'Donnell to try and get through him and into the ball, and in that case has sort of clattered into the back of him and fallen over. It's whether Stephen O'Donnell has made the motion to try and take him out or not.
Maeda clearly makes a two-handed gesture that O'Donnell has had both hands on his back and knocked him to the ground. We're getting our look at it. VAR's had its look, but for me, clear-cut penalty.
Yeah, I feel we'll need to see another replay of that one to see exactly. I don't think the angles were the best. It was kind of focusing more on the handball, wasn't it, than the instant. But in fairness, the goal, I think, had been given and then had to be ruled out, so that's why the cameras would have been focusing on that, because that was the initial decision. There's a stoppage in play now that I would imagine we'll see this again. So the ball is played through from deep. Dyson Maeda and Stephen O'Donnell both going for the ball.
That looks like a penalty kick.
Does that look like a penalty, would you say? Stephen O'Donnell step across the front of Dyson Maeda.
I think he tangles his legs as well and kind of leans into the back of him. So I think it's, Maeda's saying there's a push. I think his legs does get tangled as well. I think it's a penalty kick.
See if he doesn't go down, he's got to stick the ball in the back of the net, because it's a terrific ball and terrific run, and he's in front of O'Donnell. So I don't know what they're thinking, but that was a penalty kick for me.
Well, no penalty to Celtic at Fir Park despite the protests. I think it was more John Kennedy than Brendan Rodgers that was doing most of the protesting on the sideline.
I was going to say, Andrew, I didn't see many of the players protesting. The camera was fixed a lot on the referee and Maeda, but players on the pitch get a feel for things and they understand the game, and to see that
I wonder
happening,
if there was just more confusion because the ball had ended up in the back of the net. There was probably Dyson Maeda's teammates didn't know what part of his body it came off, so didn't know whether to celebrate or not.
But this is where we've got time. There is no rush. We have got VAR to take time. The ref doesn't need to blow any whistle. He can just be told if he's unsure what's actually happened there. I thought it came off his hand. Was it a foul? Is it offside? It's loads of time. So I don't know what's happened there between the referee, VAR, and how they came to that decision.
Bit of a stoppage in play at Ibrox. Toyosi Olasanya down, getting treatment. I think we might be back underway now.
I wonder if Rangers get 1-1, what the reaction from the supporters will be.
Very poor.
If you're sitting top of the league, when you're winning every game, you go in 1-1 against a St Mirren. If you're Celtic or Rangers, you get the old boo.
I used to get that coming out the tunnel.
When you're struggling, of course they're not going to be happy, are they?
Yeah, Roger Hanna will be able to tell us at half time, but I imagine that, especially with we saw the banner earlier on, some of the discontent amongst Rangers supporters, that this will just add to it if they can't beat a St Mirren side who lost 4-0 to Hearts last weekend.
I said to you earlier on, they're not playing football matches at Ibrox just now. They're having public inquiries. Every game is a public inquiry into what's going on and off the park, and at half time there will be a storm of booing if it's still 1-1, because the Rangers fans know, you did the equation yourself, Andrew, that they can't go to Pittodrie on Wednesday with a situation that they've made even worse than it was at kick-off time. So there will be a storm of protest at half time if it's still 1-1.
Yep, Rangers 1, St Mirren 1. Around 5 minutes to go left until half time. The same amount of time left at Fir Park, where it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. Luke McCowan with the goal for Celtic. No Callum McGregor today for Celtic. No James Tavernier today for Rangers. Thinking adductor injury is for Callum McGregor, being rested, just sorting that one out. James Tavernier on the bench for Rangers.
For the benefit of those of us who do not with degree in medicine, what is an adductor?
Mark will tell you, he's had a few.
I've had it.
What is it?
Groin.
Groin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had it as well then.
abductor and adductor, isn't it? One of them brings it in, one of them goes out. I've had both. And surgery.
Have you for that?
Nah, I've been everywhere. Went to Munich for surgery on that neck of the woods. Had to use the old Veet hair removing cream for.
We'll see your scar at half time.
Not my proudest moment.
Motherwell going for an equaliser in the dying minutes of the first half. They're swarming around.
I like how as soon as you bring up hair removal cream, Hugh was so quick just to change the subject back to the football. The uncomfortable
Hugh,
territory.
you've got to, because when you're getting surgery, the full area has to be smooth as you like.
The thing is, we've had legal training in journalism, and there are legal parameters that you must not cross.
I know. I was going to ask what "smooth as you like" means, but I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave that as that. But yeah, approaching half-time in both of these matches. Celtic and Rangers certainly both being tested today by St Mirren, and Motherwell. Celtic standing up to the test better. Didn't look like it in the early stages. Lennon Miller hitting the woodwork twice for Motherwell, and they were looking good, but Luke McCowan did well to find that goal. Rangers started off maybe St Mirren actually probably in the first 10 minutes or so looked the better side. Rangers got that goal, and then it's not been great for them since then.
Very interesting afternoon, with a VAR mystery thrown in at Motherwell. Why Celtic did not get a penalty is a complete mystery, but interesting. The two games in the balance. I still think Celtic will go to the bench before this is finished and freshen things up, but they've had an interesting first half of it. Their post has been struck, their bar has been struck, they have struck through Luke McCowan, but not at their absolute best. However,
the only thing I'll say, Hugh, in the last 15 minutes, Motherwell's not really caused a threat to Schmeichel's goal. Celtic dominating now the possession, Motherwell just dropping into that formation, everyone behind the ball trying to make it difficult for Celtic, because Stuart Kettlewell knows it. 1-0, they're still in the game,
of course.
At 2, and I know the argument about Aberdeen, but I wouldn't fancy Motherwell to come back from that.
It's amazing what a goal does to a game, though, because you're right, Motherwell were causing Celtic problems, but as soon as Celtic get the goal and they relax a bit, it's the opposite effect for Motherwell. They seem to retreat a bit, they seem to be a bit unsure in the press. We're seeing the midfielders, Hatate and especially McCown, the two side ones, getting on the ball plenty. So it's certainly changed this game, that goal. Celtic looked much more relaxed,
but not so relaxed that they can't take their foot off the gas, because here come Motherwell again.
Good ball that from O'Donnell.
Yeah, heading forward, that's going to be a foul by Liam Scales, you'd think.
Offside,
there's an offside actually. So Apostolos Stamatolopoulos trying to make his way into that Celtic box. Liam Scales stepped across him, but he just made the run, tried to bend his run, but made it a bit too early.
I would just call him the Australian boy.
I'm just calling him Stama.
Yeah.
That's what, when I spoke to him, he says to me, don't pronounce my name, just call me Stama. I says, that'll do for me, Stama.
St Mirren with a wee bit of territory they've had in the last couple of moments as half time approaches, which if Rangers are fighting a battle to keep it at 1-1 going into half time, there's certainly going to be a bit of discontent from supporters.
Andrew, believe me, as a long time watcher of these matters at Rangers and Celtic, if this is 1-1 at half time at Ibrox, there will be bedlam, and Roger Hanna is the very chap to articulate it for us. But the banners say it all. The fans don't believe the club has been run properly, and the one thing that Philippe Clement has to do is to avoid the situation getting worse because of results on the park, and that hasn't happened so far. And today, anything other than 3 points means a real bad day for Rangers.
Celtic pushing to try and get that second goal before half time. Shot by Kyogo is blocked out for a Celtic corner.
I was just going to say that I'm watching the game obviously coming in from Fir Park, 44 minutes on the clock. I've not seen a lot of Kyogo at all.
But we're back to service.
Yeah, but that was a glimpse that he's still sharp, he's looking for things in the box, and he's forced a corner kick.
Sometimes it's when we've seen Kyogo at his best, though, isn't it? It's when he's maybe not involved too much in a game and all of a sudden pops up with a vital goal or pops up with a couple in the game. That was especially when he featured under Ange Postecoglou, his game wasn't really getting involved in matches a lot. It was just being there in the vital moments and taking chances.
Tell you what, I like the look of the left back for Celtic. I was unsure in the first few games, couldn't quite work out if he was going to turn out to be a good player, but technically very good how he moves the ball. I think he's getting used to that system Celtic play now, that he can come inside that inverted role and receive, but
he's a nice footballer,
very good to watch, very pleasing on the eye. You just wonder how he is defensively. That's how, when Kaleta runs in the first few minutes, I'm thinking, well, Valley's going to have his work cut out today, but it's never really materialised into that. On the ball though, looks really
I've got to say, Mark, I do agree with you, but I think if it was a cup final tomorrow and the strongest team, I think Greg Taylor would still just pip him just now.
Wednesday was maybe the opposite of what you'd expect from him, where he defended very well, but his use of the ball maybe wasn't as good as you'd think for someone that's coming on loan from Barcelona. But it was probably just the state of the game that didn't help that. You'd back him to be good on the ball just based on the fact that he's come through.
I think
La Masia.
Domestically, a team like Celtic suits him. Plenty of the ball, plenty forward options to play from, but when you go to that Champions League and those forward options are restricted, then he might struggle. But he's certainly shown up well today.
4 minutes added at Ibrox. There was a stoppage in play earlier for Tayosi Olasanya to get some checks after an injury. So Rangers have 4 minutes to either hold on to a draw going into the break or to try and nick a goal, and they'll be hoping that they don't concede.
I have to say I'm astonished that it's 1-1. Absolutely astonished. A St Mirren team as poor as they are, with a record going into the game as bad as it was, I'm astonished it's 1-1.
We've got to give St Mirren credit. They've showed a bit of character. They could have easily folded. They're not in good form, and they've came for a goal behind and probably getting 1-1 at half time.
Well, it is half time at Fir Park. We can speak to Gabriel.
Yes, it is, Andrew. Celtic are leading 1-0 at the interval thanks to Luke McCann's 27th minute strike. The midfielder scoring on his first start for the club, in place for the injured captain Callum McGregor. You have to say that the goal did come against the run of play. The host started really brightly here. As ever, it was Lennon Miller driving the team forward. He hit the woodwork twice in the first 10 minutes. He initially smacked the post from 20 yards after Paolo Bernardo carelessly lost possession and left goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel stranded. 2 minutes later, from nearly the identical spot, he had a free kick and curled it off the crossbar with Schmeichel beaten. But Celtic looked dodgy at the back again, a far cry from their defensive heroics in Italy on Wednesday night. Motherwell turning the Celtic centre-halves, making them play facing their own goal, which is not what they want. But that all changed with the McCowan goal. He had a few strikes past the post early on, but he didn't miss this time. Nestled into the bottom corner after he showed tidy feet just outside the box. After that, Celtic looked much more relaxed and in control, and Motherwell took a step back. Celtic thought they did have a second. Dazen Maida challenged Stephen O'Donnell in the box, the ball squeezing in off the post. The referee appeared to initially give a goal, but of course VAR checked it and it did intervene. Maida accidentally but clearly used his hand to score, meaning that it was rightfully disallowed. But then the Celtic backroom staff, especially John Kennedy down here on the touchline in front of me, asked why it wasn't a penalty, why wasn't it looked at with the heavy challenge from O'Donnell. We didn't hear in the stadium that a penalty was being checked for, and it doesn't appear that it was. We'll maybe find out more going forwards. But anyway, Celtic certainly in control here. Motherwell do know they can hurt them. Miller will want to get involved again, and I'm sure that will be Stuart Kettlewell's plan at half-time. A big second 45 coming up, Andrew. Half-time, it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, tight first half at Fir Park, but Celtic go in ahead. I think it is now half-time at Ibrox as well, Roger.
It is. Rangers 1, St Mirren 1. A banner from discontented supporters and a half-time scoreline and first half performance that will not improve their mood at all. Just 7 days after losing to Kilmarnock, and with a side already 9 points adrift of Aberdeen, Rangers are being held by an out of sorts St Mirren team as well, and it's been a poor performance for Philip Clement's side. Too many backwards passes, not nearly enough creativity, and certainly not enough urgency from this much changed side. Of course, no Cyril Dessers, James Tavernier with him on the bench, no John Suter, no Tom Lawrence at all. St Mirren started brightly as well, Andrew. I think there was an interesting challenge. Hamza Igamani was booked after just a couple of minutes for a foul on Charles Dunn that required lengthy treatment for the St Mirren centre half. But the buddies pushed forward. Rangers needed Liam Ballaghan to head clear at the back post after just 5 minutes, and then St Mirren missed a really good opportunity. There was a slip by Robin Cropper. It allowed Tuliosi Olisanya to bust clear at an angle and Jack Butland's goal, but it's St Mirren top scorer fired his shot across the face of goal when he really needed to hit the target. Olisanya's miss, that was punished in 13 minutes when Rangers took the lead from their first meaningful attack of the game. Nadeem Bajrami finding the ball at the byline and then left, he cut it back for Nico Raskin, a fierce shot. It took a deflection somehow. St Mirren goalkeeper Ellery Balcom managed to keep it out, but he could only push it out for Mohamed Diamandi, whose left foot shot high into the net for 1-0. But St Mirren equalised, and they deserved to equalise in 26 minutes. Mark O'Hara's free kick was headed out by Raskin for a corner. O'Hara, the buddy skipper, took the set piece, and there was Alec Gogic free inside the 6-yard box to boom a header past Rangers stand-in captain Jack Butland. Rangers claimed a foul, but the VAR checked it and backed referee Callum Scott and gave the goal. Rangers tried to respond in the rest of the half, and the ratio Casemiro hit the bar with a cross-come shot. Then Bajrami hit outside of the net from a tight angle on the left side of the 6-yard box. Václav Černý, the 2-goal hero against Stoy on Thursday night, he had a running shot that was easily saved by Balcom. Rangers had pressure in 4 minutes of added time at the end of the half. A couple of back-to-back corners, but Balcom managed to deal with them. There is much more needed from Rangers in the second half. At the break at Ibrox, Rangers 1, St Mirren 1.
Yeah, an intriguing opening 45 minutes at Fir Park and at Ibrox. Let's see what's going to happen in the second 45 next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
A busy afternoon in the Scottish Premiership where there has been plenty of drama. There was a full-time score earlier. Hibs 1, Hearts 1 in the Edinburgh Derby at Easter Road. It's half-time between Motherwell and Celtic. Celtic 1-0 up. The goal coming from Luke McCowan. And at Ibrox it's Rangers 1, St Mirren 1. Mohamed Diamandi opening the scoring for the home side, but Alex Gogic pinning them back. There are some scores in the English Premier League as well. It's into injury time in all three of those games. Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 0, West Ham 2, Manchester United 1. There is a 4:30 game as well, Arsenal against Liverpool. We'll get the second halves of those two games in Scotland back underway next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
I am a dull presentation in a dull office. I am forgettable, boring, and everywhere. And I am a Canva presentation for a big, shiny business deal. I am clear, confident, and bold. I'm a Canva presentation for a charming soiree. Elegant, graceful, like a nice cup of tea on a lovely afternoon. Me, I'm like a Canva prezzo for a trendy campaign, so hot, so now, so viral. Choose from thousands of designed presentation templates on Canva. Design against dull.
With 3, you can get 9 months half price on a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra powered by Galaxy AI. Available with unlimited data from £44.50 a month for the first 9 months, plus annual price rises and £50 up front on our value plan. Search 3 or head in-store today. Life needs a big network.
24-month airtime plan. 36-month device plan. From £60 a month from month 10. Price rises each April by £1.50.
Canva's Magic Write can improve any dull piece of work. Canva's Magic Write turns dismal diction into spellbinding sentences. Canva's Magic Write sprinkles enchanting inscriptions into dull documents. Canva's Magic Write turns dull drafts into salient soliloquies. Dull words designed, convincing, eloquent, compelling, poetic, with Canva AI tools. Canva, design against dull.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Rangers 1, St Mirren 1, the half-time score at Ibrox. It's Motherwell 0, Celtic 1, the half-time score at Fir Park. I think we can go back to Roger Hanna. Roger, what was the mood amongst the Rangers support when that half-time whistle went?
Yeah, there were a few jeers, maybe not as bad as I would have thought. I don't know whether it's maybe just they're getting used to it. This is a very, very ordinary performance from an ordinary Rangers team. If it hadn't been for the surroundings and 50,000 people here at Ibrox this afternoon, you could be watching, and no disrespect, and you could be watching St Johnstone against St Mirren, Ross County against St Mirren, because that is the limited thread that Rangers have posed this St Mirren team. A St Mirren team, 3 defeats in the draw, 1 win in their last 11, and they've been comfortable. You know, they were only cut open once. A good bit of play on the left hand side by Nadine Bajrami, cut it back. Nico Raskan came onto the ball, a deflected shot pushed out by Larry Balcom and knocked in by Mohamed Diamandi, who's playing in a more advanced role, the number 10 role for Rangers today. Apart from that, Balcom has been extremely comfortable. Alec Gogic, who scored the goal for St Mirren, has marshalled the 3-man central defence. He's got Charlton on one side, Marcus Fraser the other. They are untroubled by Hamza Igamani, and quite simply, there's not nearly enough support getting towards Igamani. There's not enough creativity coming from the midfield, from the players behind him, and there's not enough urgency coming. You know, you would think once Gogic scored that equaliser in 26 minutes that Rangers would suddenly commit more bodies forward, but they haven't been. They pass the ball back, it goes to Balogun, it goes to Proper, it goes between them, it comes into Barron and Raskin, it goes back to Balogun and Proper, and they are carrying no threat. They're playing in front of St Mirren. St Mirren and Stephen Robinson will be delighted at the break, Andrew.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
I am a dull presentation in a dull office. I am forgettable, boring, and everywhere. And I am a Canva presentation for a big, shiny business deal. I am clear, confident, and bold. I'm a Canva presentation for a charming soiree, elegant, graceful, like a nice cup of tea on a lovely afternoon. Me, I'm like a Canva prezzo for a trendy campaign, so hot, so now, so viral. Choose from thousands of designed presentation templates on Canva. Design against dull.
This October, stream the Sky Sports Big Weekend on Now. 2 Premier League title hopefuls clash as Liverpool travel to Arsenal. The Championship action heats up with Leeds' visit to Bristol City. We've an F1 title race on our hands as Lando looks to chase down Max in Mexico. And the 49ers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Live. The October Big Weekend. Sky Sports available with no contract on Now. 18 plus, UK only. Broadband 2.5 megabytes per second required.
You have 3 new messages.
Oh, it's Dad. Quick one. Don't forget to turn the heating off before going to Gran's. Don't want you getting home to shriveled plant babies. Totally forgot why I called. Spoke to Zara from St James's Place about Gran's care. Moving her in is the best option for peace of mind and my pocket. Don't think the grab rails will match the decor though. Love you, bye!
While you're looking out for the ones you love, our one-to-one financial advisors are looking out for you. St James's Place. Invaluable advice.
Back underway at Fir Park. I think we are just about to get back underway at Ibrox as well. We'll revisit that potential penalty incident at Fir Park. The Celtic dugout seemed certain that they should have got a penalty. It was a strange incident where the ball was played through into the path of Daisen Maeda. He was competing for the ball with Stephen O'Donnell. A collision between the two. Daisen Maeda goes down, the ball hits his hand, ends up in the back of the net. The ball, I think the goal is given initially. There's a VAR check. The goal is correctly ruled out because it's hit the hand of Daisen Maeda. It's after that whether Celtic should have had a penalty or not, but Celtic could be in here. Motherwell managed to clear it.
It was a bad touch for Maeda.
We've seen the replays so far. Where do the 3 of you stand on whether that should or should not have been a penalty?
Stonewall penalty.
I agree with you. I struggle to understand why it wasn't looked at all, or maybe it was looked at, but how they came to that conclusion, no idea. Stonewall penalty for me.
I just think Maeda was in the road of the Motherwell captain as he went to clear the ball. No, I'm with the guys. I'm very surprised that a penalty kick wasn't awarded to Celtic, I've got to say.
Well, Celtic do still have the lead. It was a goal for Luke McCowan. I'm sure people may well have thoughts on that penalty or the game in general, the same as the one at Ibrox as well. We will take your calls from 5 o'clock or whenever the game's finish. If they maybe take a bit longer than that, we'll have the open line from then, so you can get your calls in at that point later on in the show. But we do have 45 minutes of action to go in both these matches, and 2 games that'll have big consequences at the top of the table. Celtic looking to leapfrog Aberdeen once again, just on goal difference after Aberdeen's 1-0 win over Dundee United yesterday. Rangers looking not to lose ground on both Celtic and Aberdeen this weekend, which I think would have been unthinkable coming into this weekend, but it looks as if it may happen based on the evidence of the first half. Hugh?
Well, I'm looking at Motherwell storming towards the Celtic goal now, and I get the impression that anything could happen today at both grounds. Celtic have got a 1-0 lead, which, as the guys know, is no guarantee of anything at all. Motherwell coming forward, but Schmeichel gathers the ball. I still think Brendan Rodgers will eventually go to the bench. He'll take off Kyogo, he'll bring on Ida, he'll take off Forrest, he'll bring on Kuhn, and he'll take off possibly Luke McCowan and bring on Arne Engels.
Roger telling us of a change at Ibrox at half time.
Who is it?
Hamza Igamani off, Cyril Dessers on.
Doesn't give the boy long, does he? 55 minutes against Hibs, 56 minutes against Hibs off, and 45.
I don't think he was right. You know, Dessers come off the other night there, and to be fair, against Kilmarnock, he was very, very poor. But I think Dessers is a better goal threat. I really do. I know that sometimes, you know, the fans will go on his back and have a go at him, but I just think Dessers can get you goals if you give him the right service.
Yes, we'll see if Cyril Dessers can manage to breach that St Mirren defence or not. We are back underway at Ibrox. The game at Fir Park probably about 4 minutes ahead, so looks as if that one, dependent on injury time, may well finish beforehand. But Stephen Robinson will certainly be buoyed by what he's seen from his team, especially like you look at the performance last weekend, probably one of the worst performances St Mirren have put in a long time. Did not look good at all against Hearts. He would have been looking for a reaction today at Ibrox.
Well, you know, if he gets it in the form of a draw, he'll be able to say that's why I'm worth the extension to my contract, which he signed this week. It's, you know, amazing what's going on there. The banner you read out to us by the Rangers fans, that will be taken outside. They'll be at the front door by 5 o'clock if things don't improve. Meanwhile, Motherwell have started this second half in a very determined fashion.
Paulo Bernardo booked for a foul around the halfway line. I think that maybe comes under stopping a promising attack. Motherwell have to go back the way with the free kick, though.
Yeah, Motherwell will feel that they're certainly still in the game. You know, 1-0. I think Celtic need that second goal just for the comfort cushion. But Motherwell will certainly feel that they've still got an opportunity to get something here today for Park.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it previously, but the games between these two sides at Fir Park, it's always come down to the last couple of ties have been injury time winners for Celtic. So Motherwell will feel under Stuart Kettlewell and the shape that they've got that they will be able to try and stay compact and try and make the most of opportunities when they get them. But maybe that frustration that they just didn't manage to do that in the first half when they did have, I mean, that is the best one, the opportunity with Lennon Miller outside the box when Kasper Schmeichel was in no man's land.
They had about a 5 minute spell, didn't they, where they turned Celtic and they got a few set pieces, a few corner kicks, and then obviously Miller hits the post and he hits the bar from the free kick. That was their best spell. But since then, Celtic have taken control of this game. You know, pretty comfortable in possession, working it side to side. But you're right in the respect of when it does break down for Celtic. Motherwell are quick to promote bodies forward. They've got runners that are going in behind. The big Stammer up front.
Stammer's
every time they win it, you can see him just peeling off scales and trying to get in behind them. So they need a lot more of that, but they need to get the ball back first. Celtic knocking about pretty well here.
Yeah, a chance here for Kyogo, and that is a good save from Aston Oxborough, and a chance as well for Daisen Maeda, who was sliding in. He was at a real tight angle, maybe just tried to play it back across goal, maybe went for goal and didn't quite catch it correctly, but Aston Oxborough with a good save down low to his right to deny Kyogo.
Yeah, good opportunity, good play for Kyogo, just gets his head up. Good effort. The goalkeeper gets a hand to it. Maeda's on it like a flash. I think everybody thought it was going out and everybody stood still, but he certainly got there.
I think Maeda's just looking for Forrest, isn't he? He make up that back post And James Forrest obviously thinks the ball's going out as well. He's so quick, Maeda, but good play from Kyogo, good feet. First time we've really seen him in and around the Motherwell area.
Aston Oxbow proving himself again. I think quite a few Motherwell fans have been surprised by him this season, given the fact that Liam Kelly didn't have the greatest campaign last season, and Aston Oxbow basically got no minutes, and all of a sudden he's come in this season in the absence of Liam Kelly and really impressed.
That is a superlative save. If that goes in, it's game, set and match. But he's kept Motherwell in it, and Motherwell still looking for the equalising goal.
He's been rewarded with a new contract, am I correct in saying that?
Oxbow?
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah, that was in the Motherwell Times. I read it last night.
But yeah, that one change for Rangers going into the second half. We're a couple of minutes into the second half at the moment at Ibrox.
What a chance.
And then Ewan Wilson, I think it was, with the left-footed volley for Motherwell that went quite far wide after the initial chance. Motherwell working it down the right side, and was that Stamatolopoulos? The ball bounced for him nicely in the box, but just kind of behind him, wasn't it? Sliced it up into the air.
I think that's a hard one. You'll know better than me, Daz, about that, but I think it's coming behind him on the half volley. Misjudges it, but I think then Wilson at the back post can. I think he can just maybe take a touch and keep the attack alive. He's went for the absolute World Cup goal outside of the boot, half volley, and miscues it.
I think Motherwell are saying, look,
I'll stop you there. There's a VAR check at Ibrox because Toyosi Olasanya has the ball in the net, but the flag has gone up for offside. So there's now a check to see whether the goal should stand or not.
What's our correspondent at Ibrox saying?
Roger Hanna says very tight.
Oh, good one. He's sitting on the fence, isn't he?
He also said it's right in front of him, but he's sitting on the fence.
That's an experienced journalist there. Can't quite tell until the referee tells me.
I need a second to look.
Goal does not stand. Offside.
Not that tight then.
Roger messaged to say off, and then a couple of seconds later said, and VAR has backed me. But with us not having the evidence, he could well have just waited until it was ruled out and then.
I thought they were going to be a
sent
one
that
before
message.
off, but Rodgers caught it right, and that's a warning for Rangers. There'll be a few rumblings going on there in the stands at Ibrox. They'll not be happy. They need a better performance. It was okay on Thursday night. The opposition, we keep going on about it, wasn't the greatest. St Mirren will be well organised. They've got guys that have been to Ibrox before, know what's required. They've got an experienced manager. It's up to the Rangers now to go and get the 3 points, because they certainly can't afford a draw.
Roger says if you believe him, you'll believe Daz met Gogic.
I can't believe that you're doubting my honesty here. I really don't. I see him at his little daughter's in the same class as my granddaughter.
We don't doubt that you see him about. We doubt the conversations you have that you clearly make up.
High five all the time. High five there.
High five.
High five, big Gogic.
We would tell you that we doubt the veracity of your story, but you wouldn't know what we're talking about.
No.
Celtic trying to make something happen in and around the Motherwell box just outside with Rio Hatate. They'll be patient. Those Celtic, they do play the ball into the box this time, and Celtic score again at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Alistair Johnston gets his head on that one. The cross came in from Alex Valle from the left side, and Alistair Johnston at the back post manages to get his head on it and find the bottom corner.
What a day it is for the Canadian. To be made Celtic captain must be a major honour for Alistair Johnston, and to cap it all with a very good headed goal. Terrific header, marvellous cross from Alex Valle, and Celtic very much in command now.
Full back to full back, and the ball's in the back of it, and I'll probably see the 3 points can back down the M74.
Yeah, times his run well. Alistair Johnston from deep gets in front of Ewan Wilson, I think it was, at the back post, and a good header from the Celtic captain for today. Celtic have a 2-goal lead at Fir Park, and maybe a story of how this second half may go at Ibrox. Killian Phillips has been booked for taking too long over a throw-in. So I think there may be a bit of gamesmanship from St Mirren in this second half.
Well, it sounds like quite the afternoon there. You know, if that goal had been allowed to stand and St Mirren had taken a 2-1 lead, it would have been pandemonium. But as it is, I'm slightly surprised. because I thought, even though we speak about Steaua Bucharest, weakened team, etc., Rangers did score 4 high quality goals, and they seemed not to take anything from their highs. And after a low like Kilmarnock last Sunday, here we are another Sunday, and they're toiling again.
I'm not surprised, you, because you never know what you're getting with Rangers just now. I think they're all over the place as a team, and obviously as a club with the problems in the board and everything. The fans are not happy with what they're watching. Yes, Thursday night was a big improvement. 4 goals you touched on. Yep, you can't argue with it. But I'm not surprised that they could struggle today against St Mirren. That does not surprise me at all.
It must be frustrating for Philippe Clement when you see the performance level, and people can talk about, how good or otherwise Steaua Bucharest are, but if you compare them to the level of St Mirren, if Rangers can go out and play like that on Thursday night, why is it so different today?
I really can't answer your question, because why was Kilmarnock as bad as it was last weekend? They are hard. I
suppose there's maybe mitigating circumstances there, and that Kilmarnock is always a tough place to go. The pitch, the conditions, if you want to throw that stuff in. But if you take these 2 games in isolation, both games at Ibrox, both games against teams that Rangers would be expected to win, just seems a huge difference in their performance levels.
If this scoreline turns out to be the final result, the fans on this programme between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock tonight will tell you the reason for this is that the manager's not up to the job, the manager doesn't know what he's doing, he never picks the right team, etc. The Rangers fans will blame it fairly and squarely on Philippe Clement.
I think the difference is quite simple, Andrew, for me, for Thursday night to today. I think you're up against a St Mirren team that's going to Ibrox, probably fighting for their lives. They're down there, in 10th place. They had a great season last season. They'll get good professionals and they've got good players. And you look at Thursday night, you look at a team that already admitted before they turned up at Ibrox, listen, we're concentrating on the derby at the weekend. So I think that's a big difference. Now, take nothing away from Rangers' performance on Thursday. I just don't see them stringing good performance after good performance, because I don't think they're a settled side, and I don't think they're an exciting side either. Up until Thursday night, they've never really dominated. They dominated 1 game against Ross County. Ross County, it was 6 that day, but they've not really excited me at all, Rangers.
Chance a few moments ago, Nadim Barami cutting in from the left, a shot from a bit of distance, bounced in front of Ellery Balcombe, just had to kind of scramble that one away from goal, and then St Mirren cleared. Roger Hanna telling us that Yossi Olasanya has been causing that Rangers backline all sorts of problems with his pace.
Yeah, you can see he's a threat running in behind. I've said a bit proper before, I don't think he looks the most mobile defender I've ever seen. Olasanya certainly can shift, so something St Mirren have obviously identified and playing it well this afternoon.
Or here comes Kobe Balmer with another.
He's good at these, isn't he? He's good at these.
Long throw, and this is the only tactic left for Motherwell now. They just have to rely on the long throw.
I think he's taken over from Wishart in Motherwell. Yeah, he can throw it further than Wishart.
Stephen O'Donnell better be careful. He's booked. The referee's had a word with him again.
That's some throw.
That is a real launch,
I
isn't it, from Kofi Balmer?
Kick the ball that far, never mind throw it.
Our Glasgow taxi driver would charge you a boundary on that.
I think Celtic have dealt well though. Schmeichel and Scales and Trusty a couple of times have just been really the first contact on it, heading that way or punching it away. But it's a good weapon to have on your side.
Good chance at Ibrox for Rangers. It was a free kick in from Nadim Barami, the header from Cyril Dessers, but a really good save by Nadim Barami to keep Rangers out on that occasion.
Not by Nadim Barami, surely.
What was? Oh, sorry, Cyril Dessers with the header, Nadim Barami with the free kick.
Yeah,
but who saved it?
The goalkeeper.
Ellery Balcombe, of course.
Yeah, the goalkeeper.
That would have been quite the story at Ibrox.
Yeah. If Barami had saved it, that would have been.
Sorry, Ellery Balcombe with the save. I think in the lead up to that, Mark O'Hara got a booking as well. But yes, save, and then I think there's been a save at the other end at Ibrox as well. This time Jack Butland making the stop after Olasanya took the ball off Robin Proper.
Told you, jury's out about him.
You're not convinced, Proper?
You know what? It was a game at Hampden. See, his debut, he scores his own goal. But I'm not judging him on the own goal, judging him on how he played. He looked he just looked immobile. He looked like the pace of the pass, it was always a bit kind of bobbled into players, and he's certainly come on a wee bit since then. I think playing beside Suter, he looks a stronger partnership, but of course he's beside Balogun today, so I don't know if that's upset him a bit. But Olasanya sounds like he's having a good afternoon against both of them.
Roger saying St Mirren look as if they can score on pretty much any breakaway they're on. Celtic getting the ball into the 6-yard box with a ball from the right, headed away. Alex Valle with the chance now to keep the attack going, doesn't get the ball back from Kyogo round the corner.
Since the first goal, Celtic have been really patient with how they're building things up. Try to move Motherwell side to side. That's where they get the goal from. Starts with Alistair Johnson, comes across out to Valle, good ball in. Really good stuff from Celtic. Apart from that opening 15 minutes,
they're controlling the tempo of the game. They're making Motherwell move about, try to pull them out of the positions. Just been nice and patient. You would imagine Celtic's got another goal in them here at Fir Park to see them very comfortable this afternoon.
Yep, Celtic 2-0 up at Fir Park against Motherwell. 63 minutes gone in that game. The game at Ibrox slightly behind. The second half kicked off a wee bit later on. I think about 59 minutes gone in that game. 1-1 between the two.
Well, it's still not good enough for Rangers, and now we're in to even be held by St Mirren, simply not acceptable. And from what we're hearing, St Mirren look as if they could score a second goal. Well, that would be open the phone lines at 5 o'clock if St Mirren score a second goal there and get a result, and put the phone lines off at 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Stuart Kettlewell ringing the changes. Halliday, Dravkovsky and Stamatolopoulos off. Watt, Maswahisne and Robinson coming on for them.
Yeah, very attacking substitutions, you've got to say. Robinson and Watt, he's got to try and get that all important next goal, give them a glimmer of hope, get back in the game.
Can you imagine what the Celtic fans are giving Andy as he goes off the park?
He's used to it everywhere he goes. He's used to it.
I'm not concerned about the Celtic fans, I'm concerned about the Motherwell ones.
He's been quiet today. A few good set pieces early on to put at the back post for Lennon Miller's header, but he's found it difficult, as well as the other Motherwell midfielders, to get close to Celtic's three in there. They've been very good, controlled the game after Luke McCown's goal.
You mentioned not being too convinced by Robin Proper. You talked about his mobility, maybe lack of mobility. This change maybe reflects that, and
he's been subbed.
He's been taken off. James Tavernier on, which means Horatio Casanwiro moves to centre back, James Tavernier to right back. He's more of an athlete, Horatio Casanwiro. He's got more pace about him. You'd expect that will be to try and combat the pace of Toyosi Olasanya.
It's got to be, after what Roger describes, that he looks like they can score any time they go over the top. Proper struggling to deal with him, had a tough afternoon, so it makes sense from Philippe Coman, and that's what you want for your manager, to recognise where the danger is.
Chance for Celtic.
Yeah, chance for Celtic into the box. I think there's quite a big intervention in there. Was it Liam Gordon got the touch? It's not over. Eventually the ball clipped away from that Motherwell 6-yard box.
You can see another goal coming from Celtic here. They're starting to really dominate, find those spaces. Motherwell giving the ball away cheaply, and it's just wave of attack after attack now, so they need to be careful. This could be a real bad afternoon for Motherwell.
Is it written that James Tavernier scores the winning goal for Rangers now?
Dessers, I've told you, Hugh. We've got every prediction right this
week. A Tavernier cross onto Dessers' head.
Yeah,
there we go.
A change for St Mirren as well. James Scott has gone off, and St Mirren looking to bring on more pace to cause problems. Conor McMenamin is on for them. His first appearance since the 8th of June when he played against Spain for Northern Ireland. Has been injured all of this season, so this is his first venture onto the pitch for St Mirren this season.
You think Celtic will make changes, Daz?
Yes, I do, and I think I'm just looking at your midfield. I think Hatate might come off the pitch. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't come on. I agree with you with Forrest and Kuhn. Is that Hatate? Yeah. I think he will be replaced. I was wondering, especially at 2-0, I thought Brendan Rodgers maybe made a few changes.
That's a great block, actually. We're just seeing Johnson cut back to Kyogo. Missed it at the time.
There you go.
Carter Vickers.
Yeah, Nicholas Kuhn and Cameron Carter Vickers will come on for Celtic. It's probably the smart play in terms of Cameron Carter Vickers, just giving him the minutes and easing him in. Yeah, Alex Valle.
So how's this going to shape up?
coming off and James Forrest coming off as well. So it'll be intriguing to see exactly how Celtic decide to line up.
Liam Scales over
Liam Scales to left back, probably. I mean, he initially came in as a left back, didn't he? Scored a goal at Tannadice, was it, starting as a left back for Celtic a couple of seasons back. Spent some time on loan at Aberdeen, where he played as a sort of left centre back of a three. So he is versatile, can play both. That probably will be the move. Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty to partner each other. Liam Scales moving over to left back.
Well, a welcome sign, I think, that for Celtic fans, and interesting to see if they come under any pressure how Carter-Vickers and Trusty perform together, because I guess when you spend that amount of money on Trusty, you've got an idea that might be the partnership. But Scales has done so well at left centre back, it'd be harsh to leave him at. But it's another option, with Taylor out, if you're going more defensive or coming up against a more physical unit, and you can put Liam Scales to left back and you've got plenty of height in your team. It's another option for Brendan Rodgers.
A bit disappointed in AJ there, handing over the captain's armband. Certainly wouldn't be my thought.
Giving Carter-Vickers his place, club captain. Well, no, it's not.
Vice captain.
Yeah.
What have you went for there in the suite of your choice that you're chopping away? Is that a double decker?
Not only was it the noise of the rapper right into the mic when we were talking earlier on, you can now hear him chewing on it as well.
It's been a long weekend. We need a sugar boost.
By the way, we went all out there. We brought snacks in, but usually it's just one of both of us have brought snacks in, so we're spoiled.
Yeah,
complete overload.
Chocolate cakes.
I've never seen two grown men eat so much chocolate in my life.
We've been having a go at it.
Dan Casey has come on for Marvin Coletta for Motherwell, which looks a bit of a defensive change. You'd think Stephen O'Donnell will move over to that right wing back role now. He'd been playing as the right centre back. Motherwell trying to roll the dice, see what they can do in the final 21 minutes of that game. St Mirren had a free kick around 25-30 yards out, that one way over the Rangers bar, not troubling Jack Butland.
Well, I thought the same as the guys, that maybe we would have seen Ida
still time to go.
Yeah, 20 minutes to go. But I tell you what, it's a good ball from Motherwell point of view. Out on the left hand side, Wilson just swings it in right across the face. Carter-Vickers, great position.
I think the goalkeeper's got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Shout at Vickers.
Oh, I wouldn't leave that.
Would you not?
No.
The goalkeeper's in charge of that. There's no.
I wouldn't leave that if I was a defender.
Shot.
Even if I heard the goalie shout.
Well, that just shows you where you were.
Lennon Miller to take the corner, headed away, and will be cleared away by Celtic. And they'll have a bit of defending to do of their own. Ewan Wilson just going back safely towards Aston Oxborough, as Rangers look to try and do something, a bit of a change, a couple of changes they've made so far. I don't think there's been a massive influence, although Rodgers saying that already James Tavernier looking like Rangers' most creative force going forward in his first few minutes on the pitch.
Well, let's see who calls at 5 o'clock to say that the Tavernier critics are out of order.
You know what, Tavernier must be sitting on the bench thinking it's one each, and coming on the pitch thinking, I'll show you. I often get the blame for when things go wrong, but being out the team, it's not my fault today. It's
a great point you make, because if they finished one each and Tavernier had played that game, I'll guarantee the Rangers fans would be on here giving them a real hard time, because he takes the brunt of everything. So you can't pin it on Tavernier today. I just think collectively Rangers, I still fancy them maybe sneak a goal, I really do, because it's at Ibrox, but I just think Rangers collectively, I just don't see the excitement in the team.
Tavernier normally such a reliable source of goals, and yes, he has taken a lot of penalties and scored a lot of penalties over the years, but even at that does score goals from open play, and we've not seen that from him this season either.
The number of times he scored against Celtic from free kicks, he strikes terror when he gets one. The magnificent one at Celtic Park, if you remember, when Celtic were 2 up, and it really created a frantic close to the match. But somebody's going to have to do something, because the scattergun is coming out at 5 o'clock. It will start with the manager. It will contain references to the board.
I think they'll score, Hugh. I really do. I think they'll make it 2-1.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, I don't know who's been texting you, but they've got their updates correct, because it is Rangers 2, St Mirren 1, and it's that man again, Václav Černý. He got a couple during the week, and this time he's tapped the ball into the net for 2-1. It was a break down the left after a quick throw, the cutback to Václav Černý, and he's got himself a goal, and he's got Rangers ahead at Ibrox.
Well, that placates the crowd a bit. So we've got their noses in front. It would be an amazing error if they let slip the lead for a second time in the game. Bad enough they're going to Pittodrie and not looking in the best of health going to Pittodrie. Even if they win today, they still don't look in good shape for Pittodrie.
That's a relief for Rangers and their supporters and everyone concerned. I just had a feeling that they were going to score. So Černý is in good form.
How big a week is this for Václav Černý? Because a few weeks ago, was it against Hibs that he had a bit of a go back at the crowd when he was being substituted off, and there's a chance for Celtic here. I think Motherwell, have they cleared it? Hatate with a shot saved by Oxborough. Back to Černý. He's certainly had a bit of a rift with the Rangers crowd when he was substituted off at one point. Some players that's happened with previously, and they've sort of crumbled under that pressure, but he seems to have that mental fortitude that he's come back and he's managed to score big goals, a couple during the week. He's got one today as well. You've got to commend him for his mentality, being able to ride that storm and then come through it.
It's an interesting expression that he used, because mental fortitude will be the key to everything at Pittodrie on Wednesday night for Rangers. They will go there probably 6 points behind. 9 points behind would be totally unacceptable for all the fans. So mental fortitude in the face of 17,000 Aberdeen fans and a couple of thousand Rangers fans, mental fortitude will be the key to the outcome of that game.
Yeah, well, Rangers will still need it for the final 20 minutes or so of the game. Roger saying that goal kind of just came from nothing. Rangers taking a quick throw, getting to the byline, and I think it was Cyril Dessers that had set up the goal, managed to get to the byline, cut it back for Václav Černý. So Dessers the provider, and Černý with another big goal to tap that one in. So around 20 minutes to go. Rangers on course as it stands to get all 3 points, but certainly we'll see what happens in the next 20 minutes. So Celtic making some changes now of their own.
You're 2 up and you bring on £20 million worth of players. £11 million Arne Engels and £9 million Adam Ida.
Yeah, Luke McCowan and Kyogo, the two to make way. Arne Engels and Adam Ida.
McCowan's done well again.
Yeah,
I think he's showed up well in a Celtic shirt ever since his debut. Looks comfortable, and then some players can take a bit of time to adjust. He certainly doesn't look that way, and well done getting his goal. So job done for him. Can be proud.
As much as Brendan Rodgers will tell you that, and all managers tell you, we don't have a select starting 11 as the ball comes into the box. A chance for Celtic falls to Ida, deflected and off the post. A big chance after 30 seconds on the pitch, if even that, for Adam Ida.
I think they actually get in the way of each other.
Yeah, they do here.
Ida and Paulo Bernardo.
I think it was Kuhn, was it?
Oh, is it Kuhn?
Yeah, comes off the Motherwell player Balma, does it?
You can tell Winter's in. That's the first player I've seen with gloves this season.
Did you ever wear gloves in the park?
No, Hugh, behave.
No,
I think I saw Jamie Vardy wearing gloves yesterday. That was the first I'd seen of it of this season.
The only thing I would wear in the park if I go would be tracky bottoms. I like the tracky bottoms.
You trained in those, didn't you?
I was going to say, are they the same ones you wear in here? Because they look as if they might be.
What are you on about?
You train tucked tail trackies into the socks, didn't you?
Designer Andrew sitting over there. Yeah, I loved all trackies. I wouldn't train unless I had a pair of tracky bottoms on.
I couldn't train with tracky bottoms on. No. We used to have the 3/4 lengths.
They were okay, but I liked the long ones.
That is a bit of a throwback now. You don't get those anymore.
You don't.
3/4 lengths. No.
And
that's
even those, I don't know the point of those. I don't know why we wore them.
No.
More a shorts man myself.
I know. Even playing fives in trackies, I find weird. Always needs to be shorts.
I agree, Andrew. Hugh, what would you wear?
Collar.
A cardigan, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
2-0 to Celtic still at Fir Park. Less than 15 minutes to go in that game. Celtic in control. I think there was a stat that came up not too long ago that was showing the possession that Celtic had over the last 10 minutes. It was 92%. Motherwell just camped in their own area essentially, as Celtic just are patient, trying to work an opening to get that third goal. Rangers back ahead at Ibrox. The goal from Václav Černý to put them ahead.
That's what you can afford to do if you're Celtic. You're 2-0 up, hard work's done, you can keep the ball, just wait. Motherwell have to chase up, Motherwell have to come out and try and get the ball back off you, and that's where Celtic are good at, just picking you off. But they've been patient most of the afternoon, Celtic. I think Brendan Rodgers will be pleased with this performance after Wednesday night's 0-0 against Atalanta. It's always difficult coming off the back of those games, but they've dealt with this one fairly convincingly.
We were talking about Luke McCowan's influence, him getting a goal. How tough will it be to select a midfield three going forward for Brendan Rodgers now, because he has real options in there? Luke McCowan showing up well today. Obviously no Callum McGregor today. He's always going to be a starter, but when you've got the likes of Hatate, you've got the likes of Bernardo, a few players competing for those positions, which is only a good thing for Brendan Rodgers.
Of course, you'd imagine that McCowan is probably further down the pecking order when it comes to Champions League matches, but his story is a personal one. You know, he's got his dream move to Celtic, he's scoring goals, and he is literally living the dream now.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look at the midfield three, the strongest ones for me at this moment in time will probably be Hatate, McGregor. I'm a Bernardo fan, but they've brought in Ingles on £11 million, so you could imagine he's going to play in the big games.
And Motherwell taking Lennon Miller off.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like it. Moses Abiye is ready to come in. Oh, maybe not actually. I think Lennon Miller is going to stay on, is he? And Moses Abiye, who is Tom Sparrow, going to come off. He's no stranger to a late goal. Moses Abiye is a good finisher.
Yeah, he scored a few for Motherwell.
Stuart Kettlewell will be hoping that he can do something to try and get Motherwell back in this game.
They just need to find some territory further up the pitch, or gain some territory, should I say, up the pitch. They just can't get near Celtic's backline. I mean, Carter Vickers come on. The only thing we've really seen of him is some stretching for that one cross. But Stuart Kettlewell, there's 10 minutes to go. It's a home game. He needs to start promoting bodies forward. I get there's a risk Celtic will pick you off, but what's to lose in this game now? The game's gone for a minute.
Celtic trying to get forward. Nicholas Kuhn working his way into the box, plays it to Alistair Johnson across the face of goal, and you wondered whether Daisen Maeda would get the touch. He didn't quite, but Motherwell eventually clear. You just wonder with Rangers' performance at Ibrox as well, they may well go on to get the 3 points, but there has been a big thing amongst Rangers supporters about just not generally being happy with the performances. And Rangers have won games this season. They've won 5 of their 8 league games, potentially 6 of 9 if they win. They had, the win against Steaua Bucharest and Malmo, but still question marks over their overall performances, and those certainly aren't going to go away after today.
The Rangers fans can see no end in sight to Celtic's domination, and they look at a Celtic squad, they look what it cost, they look at the quality, and they think Rangers are miles off what Celtic are. But now, to complicate matters further, they've got a team in the North East who are the same number of points away from them as Celtic, and they're now beginning to think that Wednesday will be a test of, are we also miles behind Aberdeen? And at that point they demand change. I don't know what change Rangers can bring them though.
Roger saying from Ibrox that
chance for Motherwell.
Chance for Motherwell into the box. Ball across the face of goal was a dangerous one, but there was just no one quite up to speed to manage to slide in and get that ball away.
It's a fantastic bit of play from Motherwell. Worked it well wide. Great first touch. Takes Alistair Johnson out the game. Problem is nobody can keep up with him make up the yards.
To say, you've got to get a striker going across the front post there. You've got to get somebody making a run. That's terrific touch, terrific pass, and I thought it was a terrific ball, but unfortunately no takers for Motherwell.
Roger at Ibrox saying that Rangers look so much better defensively with Casemiro at centre back next to Balogun than they did with Proper there.
Not surprised at that.
Is he a natural centre back or is he a full back?
He's more of a. He can play both. He had played both previously in his career as well. I think he's more of a right back than a centre back, but has played both.
Anywhere in the H. Remember that one, Mark?
That's him. Yeah.
Signed a few players like that.
By the sound of it, he'll be in central defence on Wednesday. Because
you get Suter coming back, surely, is he not?
Well, who knows? I mean, he's out today. Maybe there's a problem there. Mark has already identified.
I think there was an update on John Suter from Philip Clement before the match. Said he was rested due to the number of games he's played recently. The medical staff had told the manager there was a risk of him picking up another injury if he'd played today. I suppose with his past, when it comes to injuries, he's a player you don't want to risk, especially going into this busy period, that you may just have to take him out now and again to, for long-term benefit.
What that tells you is they're basically saving him for Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But you can't. I'm sorry, you get medical team, and I know they're going to argue the point, but you're saying, well, you need to leave him out because there's a risk he may get injured. He may get injured in training. You know what I mean? So they've obviously looked at Wednesday night, thought they would have enough today to get over the line. It looks that way against St Mirren, and I'm sure Suter will win that starting line-up come Wednesday.
And yet only last Sunday John Suter was lost when Kilmarnock scored the only goal of the game. So he was deficient defensively only last Sunday.
Rio Hatate firing over at Fir Park just as Conor McMenamin fires wide for St Mirren in a foray forward for them. There's a goal in the big game down south. Arsenal have taken the lead against Liverpool. Bukayo Saka with the goal in that game.
What a day down south already. Ange Postecoglou, his Spurs lose to Crystal Palace. Eric Ten Hag, chance for Motherwell again here.
Yeah, they're into the box. Moses Abiye trying to get the ball under control, turns. The shot was never going to trouble Schmeichel, was blocked anyway.
Bit better from Motherwell in the last 5 minutes, getting bodies forward.
Yeah, Maswanise he's got tricky feet, trying to make something happen. But this will be a bit more positive for Stuart Kettlewell as the header at the back post. I think the flag has gone up anyway. The header was into the arms of Kasper Schmeichel.
Anyway, Rangers Europa League opponents Manchester United moving closer to relegation under Eric Ten Hag. Another defeat today.
I can't understand how he's still lasting.
I know.
I really don't.
It's a process. That's all I keep saying.
Oh my
that
goodness.
seems to work for managers. It's a process. Trust the process. 2 years later,
is it the managers or is it Manchester United that's the problem? Because every top manager's been in there's failed after Ferguson.
Good save by Ellery Balcom to deny Václav Černý getting a second brace in a matter of days. Roger saying it was one of the best moves or probably the best move by Rangers so far today. And Balcom, who's already made a decent save earlier on in the game, it makes another one here to deny Černý. So Rangers pushing to try and get a 2-goal lead in that game and attempting to put it to bed as Celtic make a change at Fir Park. Luis Palma coming on for Daisen Maeda. He's looking a bit more part of it now, isn't he? Again at Celtic, Luis Palma, because he was kind of out of things for a while. Did he score a hat-trick in the international break against Sligo Rovers?
But,
I think.
Yeah, he did.
And is now came on before some other players that you would have expected to come on before him in Bergamo on Wednesday night, and is on again today.
He had that terrific pre-season when Celtic went to America and started to light up the place, but then it didn't happen for him. On the park, he always likes Fir Park. I remember him being involved in last minute finishes there.
I've got to say the rain's battering down in Motherwell, and I've left my windows wide open. I wonder if Gabs would nip down and just close the windows.
I think he would find it beneath him.
I also think he'd be just concerned about having to go into your flat and see what's in there as well.
Spider-Man up the wall.
Yeah, 10 minutes to go, or probably less than that at Ibrox now. There's only 4 minutes to go at Fir Park. Yeah, Gab says he doesn't want to know what you've left out. He doesn't want to see that recliner.
The most famous piece of furniture outside of...
No, it's
a chance for Motherwell here. There was a mistake from Trusty, but he does recover well, doesn't he?
Wiped up his own mess.
Showed good pace there.
Oh, you're still talking about Daz's flat there for a second.
Unfortunately, it's not going to the new house.
Oh, is it getting skipped?
Is it retired? Yeah. I'm going to put it in a museum.
I'm sure Kelvin Grove Art Gallery will take it.
Oh, you have to keep it there.
I was thinking more of a sort of Amsterdam-based museum for that type of thing.
Let's not go there.
So yeah, chances really are maybe openings at both ends. Austin Trusty there just got it all wrong, didn't he? Sliced the ball up into the air over his head, but showed that recovery pace to stop Motherwell getting through.
Yeah, he certainly did well to clean that up. But you can see Motherwell have got 4 bodies at least in the Celtic half. They are going to get picked off, there's no doubt about it. But you'd be well having a go in the last 5 minutes of this game to try and get something from it.
Yeah, Celtic into the Motherwell box again, a huge chance, and they take this one at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Adam Ida putting the game to bed. The ball cut back to him by Nicholas Kuhn, and he ran to the front post, got his foot round it and found the bottom corner. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3.
Brilliant goal again from Celtic, patient again. Motherwell committing bodies forward like I said, but Celtic always the danger, pick you off. Kuhn does well, overlap and run, doesn't need it, cuts it back. It's good finish from Ida.
Yeah, good move. It's good wing play. I like to see that. It's not often you see wingers in the modern day game going down to the byline, taking players on. Kuhn obviously terrific pace, right foot across, and Ida's run is a terrific run, front post, and the easiest finish he'll get. Good goal.
It just shows the quality that Celtic are able to bring off the bench in games like this, where teams may think they've got a chance of nicking something, and then all of a sudden you've got, as you mentioned, £9 million Adam Ida able to come on. Nicholas Kuhn came off the bench as well. That players just of a quality, a level above anything that Motherwell have, and can cause them problems right to the death.
They're a level above anything you'll get in Scotland, and I include Aberdeen in that, in terms of the quality and the depth of choice that the manager has. The monetary factor we can leave alone, because no one can live with Celtic when it comes to finance. They're far richer than all of the league put together, but you've got to demand of them that they deliver, and they have done here after an opening 20 minutes that was not the brightest.
Rangers making another change. Connor Barron coming off, Dujon Sterling coming on. Of course, signed that new deal not too long ago, but really hasn't been part of Rangers' starting lineup. Philip Clement, I thought, was quite pointed when talking about Dujon Sterling when he was offered his new deal or signed his new deal, saying that he pretty much needs to prove that he can string 10 appearances together, which you'd maybe think is the type of thing that you'd get a player to do before you offered them a new deal.
Exactly. But these are the things that the Rangers fans are looking at. Nothing seems to be as it should be on or off the park, and Pittodrie, with every minute that passes, Pittodrie becomes more and more significant. It will be quite the occasion, a spectacle, a trial of Rangers, trial of Jimmy Tilleen and his team. They would seem to have every advantage, including home advantage.
Yeah, what a week it is, because there's that midweek fixture card. Of course, the headline will be Aberdeen against Rangers at Pittodrie, and then we've got the Premier Sports Cup semi-finals next weekend as well.
Telling times, but before we run ahead of ourselves, Rangers will go to Pittodrie 6 points adrift of Aberdeen, and no one will be able to take their eyes off that game.
Rangers getting ready to make what I assume will be a final change. Ross McCausland is going to come on for them. I think it may be Václav Černý potentially.
Well, he's had a good couple of games. Got back onto the fans' side with a few goals, well taken goals, you've got to say, and an important one today by the sounds of it. Still only 2-1 there. St Mirren's still in the game, but he'll be happy with his couple of days' work, I've got to say.
Černy's turned out to be the go-to man for Rangers when they need something. You pointed at early doors, didn't you, Hugh? You liked him straight through the off. I think it was against Motherwell, was it?
At Hampden.
At Hampden. And he's maybe not lived up to the sort of billing you gave him that day, but he certainly produces when Rangers are underperforming. He's the least of their worries.
Just seeing a replay there of a pretty heavy looking challenge by Liam Gordon on Adam Ida. Caught him studs up on the ankle. Adam Ida did bounce up very quickly, which you don't often see for a challenge like that.
It's the tackle of a a player, an angry, frustrated player who's been chasing shadows all day. 3 down, minutes to go. The poor challenge. I think the referee might even be told to have a look at it.
Yeah, there's a delay in play at the moment, so there could well be a VAR check. That'll be a frustrating one for Stuart Kettlewell if it does go to the screen, because at this stage 3-0 down, they're not going to get anything from the game, and
He's going to the screen.
Yeah, referee's going to the screen, and you normally know what that means. Certainly did not look good on first inspection.
I think Liam will be coming in out of the rain shortly.
Yeah, just looking, he lunges in, doesn't he, and catches Adam Ida above the foot on the ankle with his studs up. Is that a pretty clear red card, would you say?
Well, I think there's so much distance between his actual challenge and the ball that certainly, yeah,
he's seen a red card for it.
Yeah,
he's seen a red card for it.
You know, it's not as if he's just misjudged it
He's
by a millimetre.
Well
He's off the ground, yeah. And the ball's so far
he's
away.
He's endangering an opponent. He's off.
Yep, sore one for Ida, but he's up on his feet, but it's going to be a red.
The yellow card is coming out the pocket. That will be cancelled out, and the red card is going to come out, and it's not been a good afternoon for Motherwell. Started off okay, caused Celtic real problems at the start. Lennon Miller hit the woodwork a couple of times, but they've now conceded 3, and Liam Gordon has been handed a straight red card.
Frustrated player taking his frustration out on a fellow professional, and in a dangerous manner. So he can have absolutely no complaint. He can kick all the dressing room doors he likes, but it's a deserved red card.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, Hugh. It's not. To be fair to Adam Ida, you know, he's limping there, but he gets straight back up. But that's there was no doubt that was going to be a red card.
Sort of a rarity in modern football, isn't it? That a player gets a challenge like that put in on them and then just bounces straight back up and carries on with it. Sort of dispels the myth that players have to go down and roll about to get an opposition player sent off.
Well, we'll see how he is, Adam Ida.
Great pass.
A chance for Celtic in this one. Looked as if it was going in, but a big clearance pretty much off the line from Ewan Wilson to deny Kyogo. 6 minutes added at Ibrox. That will be a nervous 6 minutes, you would think, for the Ibrox crowd.
Or time to score a third goal for Rangers, but they have not had an impressive afternoon, and should the score be 2-1 Rangers, the fans will know the truth of the matter, that they're still not in the best of shape, and Pittodrie looms ever larger.
If you're St Mirren, Stephen Robertson, you're just putting bodies forward and going long, because you know that those Rangers players in the back line are under severe pressure when it's 2-1. You've got the home crowd expecting so much more. Anything can happen. But like this game, you leave yourself open to be picked apart, but you've got nothing to lose at this stage.
Yeah, Roger did say a few minutes ago at that point St Mirren were throwing everything at it. It hasn't come to anything yet, but they will have time in injury time to try and do that. Almost full time at Fir Park. Remember, the lines will be open very shortly. You can give us your thoughts on these two games today. Maybe you've got some thoughts on the Edinburgh Derby. Maybe you're an Aberdeen fan and you've got some thoughts on that win yesterday or ahead of that big game on Wednesday night. We want to hear from you. 0141 951 1025 on the phones. Remember, you can tweet us as well at Clyde SSB, but we want to hear from you on the phones. Rangers fans, what have you made of this performance so far? Celtic fans, are you happy with that 3-0 win that looks as if it's going to be secured at Fir Park? Well, certainly the win is secure, just whether it's 3-0 or not is the jeopardy. They may well score another as they have the ball in Motherwell's half.
I was hoping Motherwell would score so that I'd get a net.
Yeah, Hugh, you're unlucky. I went 2, you went 3-1.
3-1, yeah.
What would you go, Mark?
I went 2-1, yeah, so I'm well out of it.
And the Motherwell fans have seen enough. They're away home.
Liverpool have equalised down south against Arsenal. Virgil van Dijk, a big chance for Celtic here.
That's a poor finish.
It's got to go across the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Lewis Palmer opened his body. It was at an angle. Doesn't often quite like going with his left, does he?
It's set up for him to open up and go across Oxborough.
I think he does the right thing with his right foot, but I think he's got to go for a back post. A little bit of quality, a little bit of curve on it. Check side, just hold it, and it'll go in the back of net.
Opened up his body and shut his eyes.
That's it.
Yeah, that is full time at Fir Park. Let's get the story from Gabriel.
Celtic rejoin Aberdeen at the top of the table after a comfortable victory in the end here at Motherwell. Luke McCowan opened the scoring against the run of play in the first half before stand-in captain Alistair Johnson and substitute Adam Eder notched in the second half. Now Motherwell started really brightly. As ever, it was Lennon Miller driving the team forward. He hit the woodwork twice in the first 10 minutes with 2 brilliant strikes, but that was the closest that Stuart Kettlewell's side would come all game. It was McCowan who broke the deadlock in the 27th minute, scoring on his first start for the club in place for the injured captain Callum McGregor. He had a few strikes past the post early on, but he didn't miss this time, nestling into the bottom corner after some tidy footwork on the edge of the box. After that, Celtic looked much more relaxed. They were in control. Motherwell took a step back, and that was it really as a contest. Celtic did think they had a second just before half-time, or at least a penalty, when Dazan Maida went down in the box. The ball squeezed in off the post, but it was ruled out for a handball by the referee David Dickinson. He then didn't want to review a possible push from Stephen O'Donnell. It looked like it should have been a spot kick, but in the end it didn't matter. In the second half it was another Callum McGregor replacement, this time as the skipper. It was Alistair Johnson at the far post to head in, fullback to fullback. Alex Baye, lovely cross from the left, and Johnson there. What a day for the Canadian captain, and a goal to his name. Aston Oxborough in the Motherwell goal made a couple of quick fire big saves to stop it becoming more before Eder came off the bench, hit the post straight away and got his goal a few minutes later, finishing off a lovely move with some good work from Nicholas Kuhn down the right. Just in stoppage time there to make matters worse, Liam Gordon sent off after a VAR review, a lunging challenge on Eder's ankle. Looked like it was a red, and a right decision in the end. The rain is hammering down, Andrew. Kyogo's dancing in front of the Celtic fans who are singing "We Shall Not Be Moved." It's tighter than they'd like at the top. They're level with Aberdeen, but they roll on. And with the Dons facing Rangers on Wednesday, Celtic will hope they'll take the outright title lead some point soon. Full time here, Motherwell 0, Celtic 3.
Yes, Celtic back to the top of the table, above Aberdeen on goal difference, and Rangers closing in on 3 points of their own. Maybe a few seconds to go, I think, of injury time. Cyril Dessers had a chance on the spin and put that one wide, but I think they will get 3 points along with Celtic today, and it means that it makes it very interesting going into that midweek fixture card. Rangers not gaining any ground on Celtic and Aberdeen at the top of the table this weekend, but it just means it's more excitement for us.
Yeah, exactly. The top of the table now, very interesting. Nothing more interesting than Aberdeen Rangers on Wednesday night. Celtic at home to Dundee. With respect to Tony Docherty, that ought to be a formality for Celtic, who took 7 goals off Dundee last season at Celtic Park in one league game. The Rangers result, which will be confirmed in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I think Cyril Dessers just had another chance shortly after that one, another one on the spin, this time blocked.
It's been far too close for comfort for the Rangers fans.
However, there is a VAR check for a potential penalty. I think that shot, they're checking whether it came off the arm, maybe, of it was Balcom on Dessers is what it is. I think Dessers was set through one-on-one. He went to round the goalkeeper. Nothing was given at the time, but it has gone to a VAR check to see whether it will be a penalty to Rangers in the 96th, 97th minute of the game. No penalty, and the full-time whistle goes as well. Roger Hanna.
Full-time at Ibrox, Rangers 2, St Mirren 1. An unconvincing performance by Philip Clement's men, but they got the job done and they move within 6 points of Celtic and Aberdeen at the top of the Premiership tonight. A goal in the first half by Mohamed Diamandi, cancelled out by Alec Gogic, but then Václav Černý with his 5th goal in 4 games for Rangers won the points midway through the second half. St Mirren threatened early. Toyosi Olasanya, who caused Rangers trouble all afternoon, profited by a slip from Robin Propper. He ran through in an angle but fired across the face of goal when he had to test standard Rangers captain Jack Butland. He was punished in 13 minutes when Rangers took the lead. Nedum Bajrami getting the ball at the byline wide on the left. He cut it back for the impressive Nico Raskan. His deflected shot pushed out by Buddy's goalkeeper Ellery Balcom, but it fell kindly for Diamandi, who knocked a left foot shot into the net for 1-0. That became 1-1 in 26 minutes. Gogic heading home a free header inside the 6-yard box from captain Mark O'Hara's corner on the left hand side. Rangers complained loudly for a foul, but the VAR Greg Aiken backed referee Callum Scott and gave the goal. Horatio Casanwiro hit the bar with a cross-come shot moments later, and both Badrami and Cherney had chances before the break to try and put Rangers ahead. Philip Clement took off Hamza Iga Mane at the break and sent on top scorer Cyril Dessers, but St Mirren again at the start of the second half looked the more likely to score. Olasanya had the ball in the back of the net in a lightning break, but the flag went up and the VAR confirmed he had been narrowly offside. Olasanya's pace causing real problems for the Rangers centre back. So much so that Robin Cropper was substituted with captain James Tavernier coming on and Casanwiro moving to centre half. That was just moments after Olasanya had pinched the ball off Cropper on the byline and forced a save from goalkeeper Butland. The Rangers were rocking at this stage, but Tavernier's introduction seemed to settle them. They looked more composed at the back and they moved forward to take the lead again after 69 minutes. There didn't seem much danger. There was a throw in the far side, the Rangers left. Alec Gogic actually booted the loose ball away to try and waste time, but there was another ball that the ball boy threw in quickly. It went to the Rangers player, he fired it down the left hand side. It reached substitute Dessers and his deflected cross fell beautifully for Cherney to knock home from close range. He was denied another one moments later. Balcom saving from him at the expense of a corner after Rangers' best move of the game. Stephen Robinson though wasn't settling for this. He threw everything at it. Onwen Mandron, Boyd Muntz, McMenamin and a duo as they tried to get parity. Rangers on the ball then. Dessers might have had a third in 6 minutes of added time. A shot deflected wide. He then went round Balcom with the last moments of those added minutes. He went down. Referee Callum Scott wasn't interested, but there was a VAR check before the VAR said no penalty and the final whistle. Not impressive by Rangers. They need to do much better at Pittodrie on Wednesday night and at Hampden next Sunday. Rangers 2, St Mirren 1.
Well, the action for this afternoon is over, and you know what that means. It's time to hear from you. 0141 951 1025 to get your points across on the phone. Celtic fans, what did you make of that 3-0 victory over Motherwell? Rangers fans, it was a bit tighter at Ibrox, wasn't it? What did you make of the performance? What do you make of the result there? Maybe you are a fan of Hibs or Hearts and you want to talk about the Edinburgh derby earlier on. Aberdeen fans, Celtic have leapfrogged you but still level on points at the top of the table. A huge week ahead. So any thoughts on today? Any thoughts on that? 0141 951 1025.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's Open Line.
Full time in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Scottish Premiership. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3 at Fir Park. Rangers 2, St Mirren 1 at Ibrox. There was the early game as well. Hibs against Hearts, the Edinburgh derby at Easter Road, which finished in a 1-1 draw. All that means Celtic return to the top of the table but still level on points with Aberdeen. Rangers still attempting to chase the two of them at the top. What did you make of today's action, Hugh?
Well, worrying from a Rangers perspective. That was too narrow for comfort for the Rangers supporters against a team who approached Ibrox having lost 3 games in the bounce before then. Easy in the end for Celtic. The first 20 minutes at Motherwell weren't so clever, but again, Brendan Rodgers used his squad to the full. There were good goals in there for Adamida and none more so than Luke McCowan, who started for the first time for Celtic and justified his selection with a terrific goal to open the proceedings for Celtic. So Celtic can look forward to Dundee at home on Wednesday. They will kick off 15 minutes before Rangers kick off against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, and I think the Celtic fans will be inside the ground hoping for good news, as they would see it, from Pittodrie, even if it did mean that Aberdeen would remain level on points with Celtic.
What you would say about Motherwell and St Mirren is that certainly at times today they both put up a decent fight. At the start of the game against Celtic, Motherwell really had a go at it. Lennon Miller hit the woodwork twice. St Mirren were a threat to Rangers throughout. So I think both managers will still find positives despite not taking any points from those games.
Yeah, I think if you look at Celtic, they were a bit lucky early on not to concede a goal. Lennon Miller had a couple of great opportunities. Obviously tested the Celtic goalkeeper, but you've got to be fair in Celtic. I thought they grew into the game. The minute they get the first goal, they dominated more of the second half. They scored a couple of good goals. I thought Ida's goal at the end was terrific as well. Great move. So Brendan Rodgers will be happy, and he will be happy with the outcome. Motherwell a bit disappointed, off to a good start. But listen, when you play St Mirren, I know Hugh was talking about they're not in good form, and the league table certainly shows that. But Stephen Robertson always has them organised. They've got one or two good players that can cause you problems at set plays, and they showed that today. But Rangers, the most important thing for them was the 3 points. Now it'd be interesting to hear from Rangers supporters just on the performance.
Yeah, let's hear from you. 0141 951 1025 is the number you need. We want to hear from you, Celtic fans, on that performance against Motherwell. Rangers fans, you got the win. Was the performance enough heading into a big game at Pittodrie on Wednesday night? Maybe you're a fan of Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, St Mirren, Motherwell. We want to hear from you. 0141 951 1025. Let's kick things off with Stephen, who is a Celtic fan. Stephen, what did you make of Celtic's display today?
I thought it was another good performance. As they said, it was a bit kind of shaky the first kind of 20 minutes. But I just want to come on and talk about Luke McCowan. I think when he came to Celtic, I wasn't really, I wasn't not convinced, but I wasn't sure of what he was like at Dundee. I knew he was a Dundee captain, but I didn't really watch Dundee, so I had never really seen him play. And then you obviously hear the things about he's a kind of boyhood fan of Celtic, and sometimes I think with they kind of players, they're either really good or the jersey becomes a bit too heavy for them and they kind of crack under the pressure. Every time I feel like he comes on, obviously today was his first start, but I think every time he's come on, he just seems to fit, and he just seems to know what he's doing, and I don't know, he just seems like a really good player, and potentially maybe a long-term kind of replacement for Callum McGregor.
Give him a chance, and let's not burden him with replacement for Callum McGregor. Let's just appreciate what he has done. First of all, he comes from just Dundee, and then he comes for just £1 million, and that pales into insignificance beside Arne Engels at £11 million, Adam Ida at £9 million, and so on. But the story, as Stephen puts it, the Celtic fans love the story of the Celtic fan who gets a jersey. And I would slightly disagree with Stephen in that I think there are far more who have shone under those circumstances than have vanished under those circumstances. So he is, as I said earlier, living the dream, and he has the talent for that kind of fixture today. Luke McCowan is a natural for a Motherwell away or a Dundee away or a Dundee United away. He fits the jersey. That's all that's important for now. Let's not burden him with the new Callum McGregor.
Yeah, certainly good signs from Luke McCowan. I think a lot of Celtic fans had been calling for him to get a bit more game time just based on the cameo appearances he's had. As Hugh said earlier, he's maybe not been first choice in Champions League games, which you'd maybe expect just given the fact that he maybe doesn't have the pedigree that some of the other Celtic midfielders have, but he'll now be staking his claim to try and get starts in bigger games now.
It will be. I thought he did very well today. I think I agree with Stephen. Anytime he's played, he does look like a Celtic player right away, and that can be difficult because sometimes you feel a bit out of place. I know from previous experience you sometimes get a wee bit of imposter syndrome, think, should I be here, am I good enough? I don't think Luke McCowan has shown that anytime he's played. I even referenced before he scored his goal today, he had I think 3 or 4 efforts in goal, and not great. Now in those circumstances, I saw James Forrest have a go at him one time, say slip me in. It's easy then to take the easy option, but you see him when he gets his goal, he understands the ability he's got and he puts it away nicely. But that's what I like about him. He's always willing to take that risky pass. I think people think it's easy playing for Celtic sometimes, that you go and you're playing with the best players, so it's easy just to fit in. It's the opposite, because so much is expected of you in terms of the standard from the players. But fans like Stephen, who £1 million, it doesn't matter if it's £1 million, they still expect you to be a fully fledged Celtic first team player. If it's 500,000, £1 million, £11 million, and you've got to give credit to McCown so far, because he's certainly lived up to that, the hype he got from the Dundee fans and Tony Dock, and he's a magnificent player. He's shown that in a Celtic jersey so far.
Just an interesting story as well, because he is a bit of a late bloomer. Played for Ayr United for a few years, then went to Dundee, turns 27 in December, so he's by no means a spring chicken in footballing terms. But Stephen's talking about him being a big influence in years to come. At 27, he's still got plenty of time to settle in and really make his mark at Celtic for a good few years now as a Scottish influence, which clubs in Scotland always need, are those homegrown players.
Yeah, I think he's been impressive. You're right, and what I think's helped is the fact he is 27, bit of experience. He was the captain up at Dundee, their most influential player. And then when he comes to Celtic, all of a sudden he's thrown into a few games, and the quality he's got round about him as well certainly helps him, because I totally agree with Stephen. Every time you see him, he looks like he's just a fit for Celtic's midfield. He's certainly got a lot of competition, because that's they've got some real quality players in there. But every time he gets a game, he's never let them down. He looks comfortable. He's scoring goals. He's a big part of the Celtic squad going forward. But you're right, there's a lot of football to come from him.
How do you assess the picture at the top of the table now, Stephen? Another win for Aberdeen, another win for yourselves. It's heating up, isn't it?
I think it is, but see with the thing with Aberdeen, can they keep this scoring late and getting past teams with one goal? Will that last? I don't know. We'll see after Christmas if that kind of set up keeps going. It's good to have a bit of competition for a change, it's as opposed to just running away with it.
I think it's slightly ironic for a Celtic fan to say that about Aberdeen, because Celtic's whole history is about belated goals, and belated goals that win big matches, and that's a good thing to have.
And I suppose Celtic have a proven track record of doing that over years and years and years, whereas Aberdeen are, they have won some games convincingly this season, but have done it only over a sort of short span. So Stephen's wondering whether that will be the case over the whole season.
When Jimmy Tulin came in, it was a fresh chapter, and part of that fresh chapter is Aberdeen's resilience. I said earlier on that they deserved to win last night because they played with ambition, and Dundee United played with caution. Dundee United would have been quite happy to go back down the road with a point. Aberdeen were not happy to finish the match with a point, and it showed in the end. So I'm sure Stephen would be quite happy if Aberdeen score an 89th minute winner against against Rangers on Wednesday.
Well, thank you to Stephen. Let's speak to David, who is a Rangers fan. David, what did you make of Rangers' performance today?
Very lacklustre. There was no movement on and off the ball, no composure on the ball. It's frightening to think we're early on in the league, and we're 6 points behind both Celtic and Aberdeen. I'm frightened of going up to Aberdeen on Wednesday. I do believe that with a poor defence, it'll be embarrassing.
Strong.
That's strong, David. You think Aberdeen will run away with it on Wednesday?
Both teams have got that fight that they finish things off. We're struggling to finish teams off. Once upon a time, teams were frightened coming to Ibrox. Now they're coming at us and battering us at times.
I think
it's frustrating.
The frustration is coming across, David. Embarrassing is a very strong word to use. We'll have to wait and see if it turns out to be that way. But at the moment, given the kind of display that David has witnessed at Ibrox this afternoon, the Rangers fans can't go there with any measure of confidence. They can go and hope. They can go and think that Rangers might all of a sudden find a performance. But as things stand right at this moment, I don't think that Rangers travel there feeling that they are favourites to win that match.
I think where Rangers are looking at Wednesday night's game at Aberdeen, I think most Rangers fans, and probably the manager, would take a draw. I agree with David. Every time I've seen Rangers, they've stuttered over the line. They've not really impressed me. I know they get a terrific result on Thursday night, scored 4 good goals, dominated most of the game, but I was not surprised today, because I know a St Mirren team going there, you know, they're well organised. Yes, they're not having the greatest of seasons, we know that, but they were always going to make it difficult, and I don't think Rangers have got the character in their team to go and breeze by a St Mirren at Ibrox just now.
There were some changes today, David. Naratio Casemiro came in from the start ahead of James Tavernier. Hamza Egamani started the game, of course, came off at half time. Did their performances not inspire any confidence in you?
The back four, they just didn't look as if they'd ever played together. Balogun, proper, the passes were going astray. There was nothing there to build any confidence for Wednesday. But while I'm on panel, can I just put another point across? The lower leagues, the West of Scotland leagues, I'd like to give a big shout out to Clydebank FC. The 21 games on the bounce this season they have won. They went up to Keith yesterday in the Scottish Cup and beat them 3-0, who's a league above them. Gordon Moffat and his boys at Clydebank are doing themselves proud. I get more enjoyment out of watching them at the minute.
Well, my daughter, her husband and their son would agree with you, because they're all season ticket holders at the Bankies, and it is a tremendous achievement. The season has gone so well, and the draw, David, is tonight at 8 o'clock. Our own Gordon Duncan will be officiating, and I would love to see the Bankies get Partick Thistle so that we could have a real derby in our hands.
Just on that point, David, is there a real lack of enjoyment when it comes to watching Rangers? Other performances, you know, are they not getting out your seat at all? Is it concerning, even despite the fact when Rangers win, that you're not seeing enough from them?
For the money that we're paying, there's no enjoyment. No, like you say, there's nothing getting us off our seat. Where at the Bankies, it's full of goals and enjoyment. Lower league football is producing better football than I'm seeing at Ibrox at the minute.
That is one thing, because sometimes teams can be going through spells where they're maybe not getting the results, but the performances prove to the fans that there are, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, that things will get better. But Rangers don't seem to be putting in a run of performances that are giving the supporters hope. There was maybe a bit of hope after that game on Thursday night, but then it goes to Ibrox again today, and St Mirren run them really close.
Yeah, I think Rangers in a position just now, it's all about trying to keep themselves in there. They're not playing attractive football. You hear that from Stephen, and I'm sure he's not alone. I'm sure there's a lot of Rangers fans listening to this show. I would agree with him. But just now, because of the situation of Aberdeen, and it'll be a difficult game Wednesday night, they've just got to keep winning games. You know, and then hope that as the time goes on, the confidence grows, the performances get better. But just now, it's about picking up 3 points. Look, the struggle today, according to, you know, guys and Roger Hanna watching it for us at Ibrox this afternoon, but they still get the 3 points, and that's important just now.
Pittodrie has the potential to do two things. One is to put Aberdeen 9 points ahead of Rangers, at which point I think Rangers are buried and they are going to finish third, and Aberdeen will go from strength to strength. Or Rangers go to Pittodrie and win, at which point there's all manner of doubt put into Jimmy Teelan's head and the Aberdeen supporters. It's a crucial evening for both clubs.
Well, thank you to David. It is half time between Liverpool and Arsenal in the big Super Sunday clash down south. Arsenal have the lead at half time. It was a Mikel Merino header that has put them ahead. We want to hear from you. 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, Rangers fans, what did you make of those performances today? Maybe you're a supporter of St Mirren or Motherwell. We want to hear from you. And that Edinburgh derby as well was an interesting one. 1-1 between Hibs and Hearts. Maybe you've got some thoughts. 0141 951 1025.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's Open Line.
Time to get your calls in on Clyde One Super Scoreboard on the Open Line after a busy day of Scottish football. All kicked off with a 1-1 draw between Hibs and Hearts at Easter Road. Then the 3 o'clock kick-off, Celtic 3-0 winners over Motherwell, Rangers 2-1 winners at Ibrox over St Mirren. Scott is a Rangers fan. Up next, Scott, how are you?
Not too bad. Could have been better.
What did you make of the game?
To be honest, mate, there's a lack of fight. There's a lack of passion. I get the feeling that the jersey's too heavy for a few players. There's a lot of players that promise a lot of things, and we're seeing nothing. We're seeing talent being wasted. Bajrami, he's wasted in the wing. He should be playing in the middle of the park. The only person that came on there and showed me a bit of fight was Ross McCausland. There's something not right at Ibrox.
Well,
and to scrape 2-1 past St Mirren is shambolic, to be honest.
If there's a lack of fight, Scott, then you're done for on Wednesday, because that's the one thing that Aberdeen specialise in, and in front of their crowd. If Rangers are guilty of a lack of fight, they'll lose the match. That much is certain.
Yeah, that is the type of game where it will be exposed. It's whether the Rangers players will be able to rise to the challenge or not on Wednesday night. Certainly on the evidence of today, what we've heard from Scott, what we heard from David as well, what Roger Hanna was saying, not the greatest performance. Will certainly need to go up a few levels, you'd think, to trouble this Aberdeen side.
Yeah, 100%. Aberdeen at home, there'll be a packed house there. You know the atmosphere when Rangers got there. I agree with you. I think that first and foremost, you'll need to expect there's going to be a battle, and you've got to roll your sleeves up and be prepared to do that. Do the dirty side of the game, and then hopefully you can get the little bits of breaks or whatever it may be and get the 3 points go down the road. I said earlier, I think that Rangers going up there just now, the where they are, the fact that a point would be a terrific result for them, because Aberdeen will really fancy that on their home turf, especially the way they're playing. I watched them last night. They weren't at their best, but I totally agree with what you said earlier. They were positive. They kept putting their fullbacks high up the pitch. They went for the win. They went after Dundee United and they got their rewards. So Rangers will need to be careful on Wednesday night.
What does this season look like for Rangers, Scott, if they don't find that fight and that passion that you're looking for?
To be honest, I don't want to sit here and say it's finished, because there's a long way to go, but if we got to Pittodrie and play the way that we played tonight, I could see Aberdeen putting 4 or 5 past us. The Aberdeen game, you said it before the break, it's crucial for both teams. It's a must-win for Rangers, and if I would be surprised if Rangers were to get beat against Aberdeen. Clement would still be manager.
It's quite a mindset to be in for Rangers fans. That we heard from David. He said that he feels Rangers could get embarrassed by Aberdeen on Wednesday. Scott says that he feels Aberdeen, if they're in the mood, could put 4 or 5 past Rangers on Wednesday. I can't remember a time where Rangers fans would have thought they'd be going to Pittodrie and not only be confident that Rangers will lose, but confident that Rangers are going to get hammered.
Yeah, it shows the state of the club and what they're witnessing. Ibrox and these Rangers fans who have called up see Rangers a lot more than we do, so it shows you what they think of their own starting 11. And Daz is talking about these players going up there, rolling their sleeves up and being up for the battle. And that Rangers starting 11, I'm wondering who's capable of that, because I know, or we all know, I think, in what we've seen in Aberdeen, they're certainly capable of it. But there's just a difference between the two sides, and that leads to the results both of them are getting at a minute. In Aberdeen, you see a confident team who are forward thinking, playing nice football but attack minded, plenty of runners. With Rangers, got to be honest, it's a tough watch for their fans this season. It's turgid stuff. It's slow, it's pedantic. Sometimes they'll get a wee bit of quality, sometimes they'll get calamity. They don't know what they're getting from week to week. Whereas Aberdeen is one machine going one way. That's what's led to some of these calls and Rangers fans fearing that they're going to get hammered. I don't think they'll get hammered. I think it'll be a close run game. But for the first time in a long time, I think Aberdeen are favourites going into this.
I don't think Aberdeen are capable of beating Rangers by 4 or 5 goals. What they have is tremendous enthusiasm, determination, call it what you will. They beat Hearts 3-2. They get there in the end. They beat Dundee United 1-0. Even in the last 10 minutes of the game, don't panic, just keep going. They beat Dundee United. They were 2 down to Celtic, came back, got 2-2. That's what they've got. They've got all the fight you could ever ask for. But if they were to win by 4 or 5-0, Philippe Clement would be over.
Scott, who are the players, if any, are the ones that maybe give you a bit of enthusiasm, the ones that you think do have fight or passion? Because it seems like most of them you feel don't.
Fight and passion in a Rangers jersey, you're looking at the players like Ross McLaughlin, Hadji.
I was surprised at that. I thought he was going to mention two midfield players who I watched them the other night there, Raskin and Barron, and I thought the two of them played very well together. I don't know how they played today, but I thought they complemented each other. I thought that, they were a good base, especially in the middle of Park, where on Wednesday night it's got to be a real battle. So it'll be interesting to see how they two fare up at Pittodrie.
Barron's the one who won't hide as well. Yeah, Scott, on you go. Sorry, I was just saying he's the one that won't hide, and he's the one that stands up. But that's quite something, isn't it? A young player coming to Rangers and being the one to stand out when he's surrounded by all those others. Philippe Clement needs more than him on the pitch.
I would rather a team of Barons than what we've got now.
Well, what you have just now is all you've got, and you'll need to go with it to Pittodrie. And that's why I said earlier, it goes one of two ways. Rangers go there and show sufficient fight to get a result, and even a draw, as Gordon Dalziel said earlier on, Philippe Clement would settle for a draw right now. But a defeat, a 9-point gap between Aberdeen and also between Aberdeen and Celtic, that's unacceptable. And if it got any worse, then where are they going?
Well, thank you to Scott. Thomas, what did you make of things at Ibrox today?
That was absolutely dire, but no worse than we've been for the rest of the league games this season. Again, there's it's been said before, there is no game plan other than you play it along the back four and a long hopeful ball. Other than that, it's a cross coming in from one of the wings. There's no number 10. There's nobody making that break from mid. Nothing happens from midfield. Nobody makes the break. No number 10 as such. And as I say, everything it's coming in from the wing. It used to be Tav that threw over the balls. It's still the same tactic, different players. I know that some of my colleagues some of my fellow fans are shouting for Clement's head, but the club is in that much chaos. Who actually makes that decision? Because we've got no chairman as such. It's a temporary chairman, no CEO, no director of football, so nobody can make that decision. Clement is there for at least the medium haul, if not the long haul. But I don't see things getting any better. I agree with Gordon. The shining lights are Barron and Raskin, and Cherny, although not consistent, seems to be coming on to a game, and he's providing vital goals right now. I mean, the goal that we got today, I think it was the Albanian that went down the wing, played in for Cherny.
It was Dessers.
Was it Dessers who played it in? Well done, Dessers. But again, they're having to think in their feet. There's no plan.
It's an interesting point that Thomas brings up, because you have an interim chairman in John Gilligan. You have no CEO. So I am not sufficiently well versed in matters of corporate law, but do they actually have in place enough people to arrive at a decision like that? So there's a state of flux there, and the search for a CEO and a chairman goes on. It's a very, very unusual time.
Yeah, John Gilligan came out a couple of weeks ago, and I think he'd been asked questions about a lack of leadership and a lack of meaningful figures at the top of the club, and he said that there are people there making decisions. He's there, George Letham's there as well, but it's a very valid point. Rangers fans made that point with the banner today, just about maybe a lack of accountability, a lack of people making decisions at the club, vacancies where there shouldn't be vacancies. And if Rangers get to the point, and we're talking in hypotheticals here, if Rangers get to the point where they lose to Aberdeen on Wednesday, they go 9 points behind Aberdeen, potentially 9 points behind Celtic as well. There will be so much heat on Philippe Clement, and there'll be a board, or maybe a lack of board, that people will be pointing fingers at.
Yeah, and the Rangers fans are already venting their anger at what you call the lack of board. The club's in a bit of a mess on and off the pitch, from top to bottom. They need to get the right people in the right jobs. First and foremost, they need leadership from the top.
that filters down to the manager, and then the manager is the leader of the players on the pitch. What you're getting from Rangers fans just now, and everyone that's been on the phone, it's a hard watch. They're not enjoying their football. But I keep going back to it. I totally agree. I wouldn't like to go and sit, because the times I've seen Rangers, I think they've been very poor. But the most important thing for them just now is, as a team, especially with the form of Aberdeen, and you see Celtic today with the quality and the squad that they've got, is to win games, and they're just hanging on by doing that.
Thomas, we've heard Rangers fans not only this season but in previous seasons say that James Tavernier needs to be taken out of the team. He needs to have the captain's armband taken off him, as if that's some sort of magic formula for everything changing. He wasn't in the starting lineup today. How much of a difference did that make, if any, to what you saw on the pitch?
I think everyone is harsh on Tav, but again, you can only go by. You can't live in your past. He's got great numbers for the club. He's been the bargain of the team for what we paid for him and what he's given us back. However, he is getting a bit older, that wee bit slower, and it's time to be looking for a replacement. To absolutely strip him of the captaincy, I think is just going too far. But yes, he should be left out of games from time to time. The boy they've got playing at right back looks a solid big boy, as if he could do a job for us. Is
there then maybe an issue there that Roger Hanna was telling us, that when Horatio Casemiro moved to centre back and played alongside Leon Balogun, that Rangers looked a lot more assured defensively at that point?
Well, I'm not being funny, but I could have, and I'm not, I'm up with Hugh's vintage. I could have played centre half instead of proper today. So no matter who you moved into the middle, it was going to be an improvement. But yes, Rangers were far more solid with that boy at centre half.
I think Tavernier will have to play from the start at Pittodrie. This is now the emergency bells are ringing here, and Rangers can't come away from that ground having lost the game to Aberdeen. So Tavernier will have to play. Casemiro, if he's as good as everyone said he was today, then I think he will play as well. And people like Proper, who are causing doubt in the minds of the supporters, I don't think you can risk him at Pittodrie.
That alone feeds into the problem Rangers have got just now. Earlier caller says it looked like the Rangers back four hadn't played together before. It's because they've probably never played together before. When the last time that Casemiro, Balogun, Proper and Jeffrey played together, if any? No. So now we're talking about Tavernier has to come back into the squad. You're now questioning Proper. Is he up to the test at Pittodrie? Does Casemiro look a better bet? Does John Souttar come back in? You're changing so many players time and time again, and that's the problem. If you've not got stability at the back, it leads to uncertainty throughout your team. And Philip, come on, keeps changing things. He thought he had something with Souttar and Proper, but again he's changed things so often. So it's going to be a big decision for him who takes the pitch in that back four, because on Wednesday night, because they are going to come under pressure, no doubt about that. If it's Soccer, if it's Duke, whoever they're up against are going to cause them issues. That will be problematic if people think different players perform better in different roles. Rangers had it last season with Dujon Sterling, where people were saying he has to play right back, he has to be in ahead of James Tavernier. Then he played a few games in midfield and people were saying no, actually he needs to play in midfield, he has to play in there. He then played out wide, and there were some games where people were calling for him to play out wide. If there are certain individuals in the squad, and by the way, this is a player that can't even get on the pitch at the moment. Rangers have these issues all over the park, don't they? Yeah, they do. They're just putting people in different positions. Parami, for instance, everybody knows that he's a number 10. He's not a wide player. I think he would be better suited, but he put in Diamandi today as a number 10, and all credit to him, he scored the opening goal, so that seemed to work. There are one or two players that are just getting used and put into positions that they don't look comfortable in. Andrew, I think he's got to try and get a settled side out in the pitch, put people in the right positions, and go and try and work on a style of play and keep winning football games. Because as I said earlier, the one thing I'm getting from Rangers fans is this is not pretty to watch. Well, thank you to Thomas. Still time to get your calls in. 0141 951 1025. We want to hear your thoughts on this weekend's action. I'm sure you've still got plenty of opinions left to give, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from the managers after these.
After they play, You have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's Open Line.
Into the final part of this afternoon's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Plenty that we've brought you throughout today. It all kicked off with a 1-1 draw between Hibs and Hearts at Easter Road. The two teams at the bottom of the table. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3 at Fir Park. Rangers 2, St Mirren 1 at Ibrox as well. There's a huge week ahead in Scottish football as well. On Wednesday, Celtic Dundee, Dundee United Motherwell, Hearts Kilmarnock, Ross County Hibs, St Mirren St Johnstone and Aberdeen against Rangers. And then look ahead to next weekend, the Premier Sports Cup semi-finals. Loads to look forward to, but we want to hear your thoughts on this weekend. First, 0141 951 1025. Hopefully before the end of the show we'll be able to hear a bit from the managers as well. Let's actually hear a bit from David Gray, shall we? The Hibs manager after that Edinburgh derby.
Very much feels like it's 2 points dropped again. I think when you look at the game, I don't think anybody can deny I thought we deserved to win the game purely on chances created. I think Hearts had a bit more possession in certain areas. We were happy for them to have it, but unfortunately it's a tale of a similar story, which is we're creating 4 or 5 clear-cut chances. We need to take these chances when we're on top, and then in that one moment when you're defending a long throw at the very end, unfortunately there's two people not doing the job properly. Listen, the chances we actually created today were real clear-cut chances. I know Craig Gordon's a top goalkeeper, puts himself in the right position 9 times out of 10, of course he does, but he shouldn't have the opportunity to save them, to be honest. Listen, there's nobody more frustrated than the lads that are missing the chances. I would be a lot more concerned if we weren't creating them. So that's the positives we need to take from that. But the reality again comes back to the same thing, which is when you get as many chances as we do and we don't take these chances, you need to be more resolute at the back. And unfortunately, for 99% of the game today, I thought we were excellent defensively. I thought a lot of boys putting their body on the line, a lot of big blocks, big clearances, and restricted Hearts to very few chances, and the goalkeeper had very little to do. But we've dropped 2 points in my opinion again today. Yeah, the league table does not make good reading for Hibs or Hearts. I think there will of course be more optimism when it comes to Hearts because they've got a new manager in who won his first 2 matches, won them well, managed to get a point away against their rivals today. But with Hibs, 1 win from 10 in the league so far, 4 draws, 5 defeats. It's not looking good for David Gray.
Very magnanimous assessment of the game from David Gray, given the pressure that he is under, and admitting that it was 2 points dropped and that people didn't do their jobs at Hearts equaliser. So he's not attempting to hide behind anything, but he remains under pressure. He goes to Dingwall. There is the possibility, that Hearts and Hibs could be more than 20 points adrift of Aberdeen after the midweek fixtures, because although Hearts are at home to Kilmarnock, you never know with the pair of them. That's why they're bottom and second bottom of the league, and that truly would be an astonishing state of affairs to be more than 20 points behind Aberdeen by this stage of the season. You do wonder where the optimism is for Hibs and for David Gray at the moment. There doesn't appear to be any at all.
He clearly has problems defensively. I think we can all see that. Everybody can see that. I think they've recruited poorly in the summer to address the problems, because the problems were there last year. You could see that they had poor defenders, people that just didn't do their jobs, and they've replaced them with similar. And that's quite difficult to do, to be honest. But they look wide open, especially on that right side. The right back and the right centre half have conceded sloppy goals all season. It was the same again today, where they think they've got the 3 points. A simple throw in, headed to the back post area, and the right back and the right centre back sleeping, allowing the young lad to nick in. And those problems will continue to haunt him unless something drastic changes. So he has got real problems. Top end of the pitch, he's got players that will create, but if you don't shut the door at the back, you're going to find yourself at the bottom of the table.
Where I agree with him, sorry Mark, that there was an opportunity in the second half to put the game to bed. It was a terrible miss, and when you don't do that, you always leave yourself open at the back. And Hibs have been this season giving away cheap goals near the end of the game. They can't keep the back door shut at all. David Gray has got a big job in his hands, but he can't go continually missing chances, conceding easy goals, and sitting with Hibs at the bottom of the league.
Still time to get your calls in. 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, maybe you've got some thoughts on what Brendan Rodgers had to say after that 3-0 win away to Motherwell.
Absolutely delighted to come here on the back of the game. There was a big exertion during the week and big physicality Motherwell away is always, ever I've known, it's always been a tough game. To finish 3-0 and could have been more convincing by the end if we were a wee bit more clinical. But overall, players done absolutely amazing. First half we needed to switch the ball more. We got stuck on one side of the pitch and kept going back in, and when you play against 5-3-2 you've got to switch it more. So, and when we'd done that in the first half, the opportunities in the spaces starting to open for us, and that's where the first goal came from. So half time it was just about reinforcing a couple of defensive items, but then second half just managed the game better, and I thought we did that really well. Got through the pitch really, really well. At times we tried to get in again too early. Once we'd broken the press, we just needed to connect the game and one more, and it would have gave us more opportunities, I think. But we still created a lot, and as I said, the game management was very, very good. We keep them running, keep them stretched, and keep them working, and then the opportunities opened up for us really well.
Will that be a pleasing thing for Brendan Rodgers when you look at the performance midweek against Atalanta? So much energy exerted in that game, having to keep Atalanta at bay. Yes, he was able to make changes, and yes, based on the budget Celtic have compared to Motherwell, you'll expect the players to be fit and ready to go again. But it was they kept going to the last minute, and were scoring late on and just kept going.
He used 16 players in all today, and he knows he can trust every one of them. He's found out more about Luke McCowan today. Luke McCowan has his old team Dundee coming to Celtic Park Wednesday night. I would imagine McCowan might start that game again. Alex Vai improves game by game. He's got Cameron Carter-Vickers back, albeit for a cameo role today. He'll be on for longer midweek. Adamida come on, got a goal. Was the victim of a terrible challenge which led to Liam Gordon being sent off. But Brendan Rodgers has found out more about his players today, and all that he found out was positive.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers will just think his team are ticking along quite nicely. It could have been tricky, especially when Motherwell were showing signs earlier on. We've seen what Motherwell are capable of doing against Celtic, both at Fir Park and Celtic Park, but as the game went on, it just looked more and more comfortable.
Yeah, well, I think today was the importance of keeping the ball, and like Brendan Rodgers said, they're moving side to side was always going to be key, especially coming off the back of a tough night on Wednesday night. If you turn that into a battle that goes end to end at Fir Park today, you might have seen Celtic stretched a bit, but after that first 15 minutes they got to grips with the game and kept the ball and worked Motherwell, and he's right with his assessment. The gaps were there and exploited them, so he'll be pleased at how things panned out overall. A very good and professional performance from Celtic this afternoon.
I think he'll be pleased with the fact that he's had what you probably say 2 difficult away games and he's not conceded as well. Yes, there was signs early on for Motherwell, encouraging signs, but the minute Celtic got the first goal, they took control of the game. Second half they dominated, and I think Motherwell were lucky it was only 3. So he's got to be a happy manager tonight.
Getting Cameron Carter-Vickers back on the pitch as well, off the bench, will be big, especially ahead of not so much Dundee on Wednesday, but the Cup semi-final next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I wonder how much of that game he'll play midweek. I wouldn't be surprised if he started but only played maybe an hour of that and then save him for the weekend. But he's a huge player for Celtic, and I think we've thought that for a number of years now, since he came on loan and then he was bought for £6 million. He's been a real standout, and Celtic miss him, so that's a big player back from. And the squad, the depth of the squad is very, very good. You look at who's going to drop out then, you'd imagine Trusty. So now you've got another experienced international centre half on the bench, all looking good at the minute for Celtic.
Quite a bit of talk about Luke McCowan and his development over the last few games. Alex Vai maybe going under the radar a bit with his performances, but was very good defensively midweek, set up a goal today as well.
Yeah, growing in stature. He doesn't know if he'll be at Celtic next season or back at Barcelona, but he's here to try and make an impact on the Celtic team, and he's doing well. But Taylor was on the bench today, and I think very highly of Greg Taylor, so he might be back in the team shortly. But all that Celtic can do is game by game, Dundee at home, and hope that Pataudry goes their way, whichever is the way Celtic wanted to go. I think the Celtic supporters would rather Rangers lost there, even though it would keep them on the same number of points as Aberdeen, but they would rather have Rangers 9 points behind them, because they still believe that in the fullness of time, it's Celtic versus Rangers.
Let's hear from Philippe Clement. Roger Hannah asked him if he was relieved to get the result today.
A relief? No, it's a normal result after this game. The only thing that you miss there is the third goal in the second half. And we were several times really close with blocked shots. Good saves of the goalkeeper also. The chance with Václav, really good attack and an amazing save of the goalkeeper. So yeah, then you need to dig in until the last minute. What the team did without giving anything away in the last 15 minutes. So that's really important. At the end, he didn't get a penalty. I didn't see the action back, so I cannot say if it was correct or not. That would have been an extra reward for him. There were good things. There were moments that it was too slow, too sloppy. We started today with 7 players who are new this season. Here at Rangers, we're now almost end of October. Some are not even 2 months in the building. Step by step, we try to integrate them in the squads. So that's a work in progress.
He's inconsistent for me. He said you'd see the real Rangers in October. Now he's talking about we're almost at the end of October and players haven't done enough. He's contradicting himself. He's not saying anything at all about what the Rangers fans are saying, which is a brand of football that is unattractive.
I think there will continue to be question marks over performances because Philippe Clement was the one that came out and said that he put the time frame on it, October, November, December. He feels that fans will start to see the real Rangers. I imagine that performance today is not what he considers to be the real Rangers.
Rangers fans don't want to hear their manager saying work in progress. They don't want to hear that. They're fed up with that. They want results, they want performances, they want better from their team. It sounds to me that the Rangers manager is watching a completely different game from the Rangers supporters who phone in here and complain about the standard of the quality of the game. But I keep going back to it. The most important thing for him today was the 3 points. He's got that. He's got a big task on Wednesday.
Yeah, how big is that task? And Rangers, you'd expect, would need to raise their level when they get
huge.
to it.
Yeah, certainly huge. Rangers certainly need to raise their levels massively from what we saw today, and so does the manager. He needs to stop going back to we've got new players. Daz is right. Rangers fans don't want to hear that. The players themselves don't want to hear that. They're going to need everybody on Wednesday night to be the top of their game if they're going to get anything at Pittodrie. But set up for a cracker, and we can't wait for it.
A busy day, Hugh. How do you sum it up?
Action will speak louder than words at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. Rangers' performance today, in spite of what Philippe Clement had to say, was for the fans unsatisfactory. For Celtic, they used 16 players and they had no failures among them. They look forward to Dundee at home Wednesday night. Wednesday night will tell us an awful lot about certain people.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. It was a big weekend in Scottish football, and this week is just going to get bigger. Looking forward to that midweek fixture card, a full Premiership fixture card on Wednesday, and then on to the League Cup semi-finals next weekend. Gordon Duncan is back tomorrow from 6 o'clock. Remember, if you want to catch up on the show, you can listen back wherever you get your podcast. You can watch the whole thing back, the midweek show, on Facebook, Twitter, by searching Clyde 1 SSB, and stay right there. Gary Spence is on Sunday Night Anthems from 7 o'clock, and the UK Chart Show is on the way next.
The Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Hundreds of dull presentations are made every second. That's another 100. And another. Dull, dull, dull. Oh, this radio ad is becoming dull too. If only Canva did radio ads, then this ad would be designed to be engaging, exciting, and full of creativity. Just like their gorgeous presentations. Oh, so visual documents and piece of cake videos. But they don't. Canva. Design against dull.
This October, stream the Sky Sports big weekend on Now. 2 Premier League title hopefuls clash as Liverpool travel to Arsenal. The Championship action heats up with Leeds' visit to Bristol City. We've an F1 title race on our hands as Lando looks to chase down Max in Mexico. And the 49ers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Live. The October big weekend. Sky Sports available with no contract. On now. 18 plus, UK only. Broadband 2.5 megabytes per second required.